Good morning from Bolero Mount Prospect in Mount Prospect, Illinois. This is the Sunday, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. local squad. The last of 5 squads this weekend for the PBA LBC National Championships. I'm $2 Phil Brylow, bringing you through the day today and through the event in whole. And we've got a couple of PBA Tour superstars on this squad. Now remember, all the PBA exempt players bowl in their own division. So even though you see Chris Prather and shortly you'll see Andrew Anderson, throwing their practice deliveries, they are competing in their own divisions with the PBA exempt division. New leader in that division last night, Patrick Dombrowski, put up a 14.66 total, and it knocked off the 14.50 that E.J. Tackett put up the prior Saturday. Had a couple other lead changes during the weekend we'll talk about once we get into game 1. And starting in game 2, we're going to have Matt Russo joining us in the booth. So if you have any questions for Matt, get ready to throw those into the chat and we'll ask those questions to him. During game 1, we'll give you the full lineup of everybody on the squad. If there's a particular player that you're looking for, you're going to be able to follow them on the PBA YouTube channel, as all the pair feeds are available to you under the live tab on PBA YouTube. My suggestion is keep us on here in the main feed and then right-click and open a second tab on the pair you want to follow. So let's say you do want to follow Chris Prather all day long. Right-click on the tab that shows lanes 3 through 6 for his opening game. You follow him there, and then we will give you the player rotation throughout the 6 games of their block, as this is treated just like a PBA Tour event. For all players involved, they move pairs after every game, and it's not the same type of movement. It's a varied movement. So then that way, they're not following the same people game after game after game. We also follow the hot hands. We followed Patrick Dombrowski for the last 3 games last night, especially when he popped off a 300 game. During game 4 of his block. I see a question in the chat about the PBA 50, PBA 60 Midwest region doubles that's being held not too far away in Arlington Heights, Illinois. No live stream coverage of that event, but you can follow the results through the PBA.com website. You can click on the PBA Tour tab in the upper middle part of the page. It'll bring you a drop-down menu for the PBA Regional Tour. And when you get on that page, just scroll down a little bit and you'll see that Les Zykes PBA 60, PBA 50 doubles tournament. Click on that event and you can get the up-to-the-minute results on what's going on there. So yeah, no live stream coverage of that event. I see you mentioned Rudy Rebs and John Janowitz in your post. I haven't checked the results this morning. I think they're still in it. And yeah, Rudy did have a 300 on Friday when we had that special PBA 50 Tour squad for the PBA LBC National Championships. Chris Barnes ended up squeaking it out over Rudy Revs to take over the lead in that senior classic division. We'll give you all our leaders during the rundown. Just under 4 minutes of practice remaining before we get underway here. With the 6 games of competition, all players will roll. And with just 2 weekends left, for the PBA LBC National Championships after today's squad, you can still get in and bowl. There's still room. On the Saturday squads, the Sunday squads, they might actually be sold out now. We'll have to go in and check on that a little later this morning. Viviana, good morning. Heard you had a little traffic on the way back from here yesterday. Hopefully you get a little rest and relaxation today while Scott's down here manning the H5G booth, as they're selling all types of PBA LBC National Championships branded merchandise, along with some of the standard PBA Tour gear. Our great partners at H5G Brands. And I want to thank our partners at Creating the Difference, not just for having the pop-up pro shop here at Blair Mount Prospect, but they had a huge squad yesterday. They brought in for our 2 p.m. local squad. One of the reasons why we have 5 squads this weekend. We had the special PBA 50 Tour squad on Friday, 3 squads qualifying yesterday, and then this lone squad of competition today. About 90 seconds of practice remaining. We'll get you the full lineup of everybody on the squad. We'll take you through lanes 3 through lane 34.
Half warning, bowlers, 1.5 minutes. Thank you.
And the voice of Neil Stremmel reminding the bowlers only 90 seconds of practice remaining.
PBA LBC Tournament Bowlers, your 10 minutes of practice is now complete. Before we get started, a reminder that when everyone on your pair is finished with each game, please make sure to hit the space bar to move your scores to the next pair. All right, everyone, let's give these competitors a nice round of applause. All right, bowlers, good luck and good scoring.
Thank you, Neil Stremmel, not just the man that is the Director of Rules, Specifications, and Equipment for the Professional Bowlers Association, but he's also the Tournament Manager for the PBA LBC National Championships. Let's give you your player rundown here on this 11 a.m. local squad. On 3 and 4, leading things off, you see me the second, coming up on lane 3. Derek Kindig, man who made the inaugural PBA LBC Championships clash in Portland, Maine in 2023. He's bowling with Zach Singer, Dylan Kindig, and Chris Ray. All those players are in the Open Classic division. There you just saw Christopher Prather start with a strike. Prather in that PBA exempt division. He's bowling with Billy Netzhammer, Paul Schroeder, and Riley Smith. Smith, half of last year's doubles champions here at the PBA LBC National Championship, teamed up with Graham Fa to take down that title, almost shooting 1,600 between the two of them, using their first 3 games of the 6-game qualifying squad for their doubles score. Paul Schroeder bowling in the Senior Classic division. Smith and Netzhammer bowling in the Open Classic division. Go over to 7 through 10. There you see on the back of the approach on 7 and 8. Your defending women's handicap champion, Kaylin Ranson. Ranson bowling with Dahlia Clark, Nicholas Ranson, and Hunter Phillips. Kaylin in the women's handicap division once again, coming with a little higher average. She's up to 176. Nicholas Ranson in the men's handicap division coming in at 180. Dahlia Clark in the women's handicap division at 193. And Hunter Phillips in the Open Classic division over at 9 and 10. Your defending champion in the men's handicap division, Bobby Kunamura, bowling with his father, Bob. Bobby Kunamura coming in at a 190 average in the men's handicap division. Bob Kunamura in the men's handicap at 176. Jason Young and Robert Miller round out those pairings. Robert Miller in the men's handicap division at 182. And Jason Young in the men's handicap division at 185. And yikes, rough start for our defending women's handicap division champion. And a rough start for Bobby Kunamura as well. Let's get over to lanes 11 through 14. And 11 and 12. John Fury is a no-go today, a late scratch. He was one of our inaugural 4-player team champions back in 2023. The 4-player team optional event counts your game 4, 5, and 6 qualifying scores for the 4 players that pay that entry fee. Mike Boudreau, Steve Starzak, and Derek Herod round out your players on 11 and 12. Dexter Herod in the Senior Classic division. Steve Starzak in that same division, Senior Classic. And something tells me Mr. Boudreau, yes indeed, Mike Boudreau, also in the Senior Classic division. On lanes 13 and 14, Caliph Chilembwe, Tasha Chilembwe, Donald Power, Alan Otero, your players on 13 and 14. Caliph in the Senior Classic division. Tasha in the Women's Handicap division coming in at 178. Donald in the Men's Handicap division coming in at 198. And Otero in the Men's Handicap at 192. Go over to 15 through 18. On 15 and 16, Alicia Jones, Andrew Wright, Jerry Jones, Ralph Warner. Alicia Jones in the Senior Classic division. Andrew Wright in the Open Classic division. Jerry Jones in the Men's Handicap division coming in at a 191 average. And Ralph Warner in the Open Classic division. On 17-18, Chris Metke, Kathy Metke, Derek Lewandowski, and Keaton Beery, your foursome there. Chris Metke in the Men's Handicap division coming in at 208. Kathy Metke in the Women's Handicap division coming in at 153. Derek Lewandowski in the Open Classic division, and Keaton Beery. Keaton is in the Open Classic division as well. Once again, even though we're going through all the bowlers here on the main feed, you can watch your favorite player all the way through. All the pair feeds available to you on the live tab on the PBA YouTube page. My suggestion is right-click on whatever pair you want to watch, because listen to us here in the main feed. The pair feeds only have the ambient audio for that pair. So we can give you updates, bowler movement, letting you know how many pairs they're moving, all kinds of other quality information here on the main feed. So keep us on for the audio, but watch your favorite player on a second tab. On 19 through 22, you just saw Andrew Anderson come off of 21 and 22 with his 5th strike in a row to open things up. 19 and 20, Alexander Eby, Jack Boylan, Josh Cummings, Corey Baker. Eby in the boys junior handicap division coming in at a 184 average. Boylan in the boys handicap division coming in at 176. Josh Cummings in the Open Classic division. And Corey Baker in that same Open Classic division. Andrew Anderson's in that PBA exempt division. Jay Lang, John Kelly, Ryan Van Heck round out the bowlers on 21 and 22. Jay Lang in the Senior Classic division. John Kelly in the Open Classic division. And Ryan Van Heck in the Open Classic division. Andrew Harrison knows the number that needs to be chased down. For the lead in that. PBA exempt division, 1466 put up by Patrick Dombrowski last night, and that also included a 300 game for Dombrowski. First half here for AA. No. That ball really took a left turn on this 42-foot LBC National Championships pattern. Players like Prather and AA, a little softer than what they're used to on tour shots. This ratio about 4.5 to 1 inside to out, where a lot of the patterns they play on tour are 2 to 1 or less. And sometimes that could give them a little second thought about how to attack the lanes as they start to transition, and especially with 10 minutes of practice. Great cover by Anderson on that 3-9-10. 10 minutes of practice and now 6 frames in. Yeah, there's been some transition on those lanes for sure. Let's get you over to 23 through 26. Chris Peters, Adam Alberts, Anthony Miller, Robert Kenny are your players on 23 and 24. Rob Kenny in the men's handicap division. Anthony Miller in the Open and Classic division. Adam Alberts, Open Classic, and Chris Peters, men's handicap division. Over on 25 and 26, Cody Guile, Stephen Crowey, Brendan McMillan, Jake Kilborn. Your 4 bowlers. Cody Guile in the Open Classic division, Crowey in the Senior Classic division, McMillan in the men's handicap division coming in at a 184 average, and Jake Kilborn in the men's handicap division coming in at a 193. Get you over to our bowlers on lanes 27 through 30. On 27 and 28, Aiden Feldy, John Schwengel, Billy Feldy, and Lavina Feldy. So Feldy cubed, plus a Schwengel. All bowlers in the Milwaukee area I know very well. Aiden Feldy in the boys junior handicap division at a 161 average. John Schwengel in the senior classic division. Billy Feldy in the Open Classic division, and Lavina Feldy in the women's handicap division. Lavina coming in with a 137 average, recent addition to the game. And over on 29-30, Emma Punter, Will Welch, David Brown, Jake Schultz. Schultz a late scratch. Will Welch in the Open Classic division. David Brown in the Open Classic division, and Emma Punter in the Women's Classic division. So our only Women's Classic division bowler on the squad. Emma Punter, and she's having a bit of a struggle here early in game one. And let's get to our final players on the squad as Matt Russo will be joining us momentarily. So if you have any questions for Matt about his PBA Tour successes, we'd like to talk about those. Let's bring Matt in here as he's just joined us. Matt, how you doing this morning?
Good, Phil. How are you?
Not too bad. Recovered from last night and those 6 games you had on this LBC National Championships pattern?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun last night. I got to bowl with my wife. We had a good time, and thanks for letting me sit in for today and back home tonight.
Oh, absolutely. So your lovely bride, Lauren, she had some ups and downs last night. She had a front 6. She was right in front of the booth here in game 3, and she left one of the most vicious 9-pins I've ever seen in my broadcasting career and that string, and that kind of took the wind out of the sails for her for a bit.
Yeah, actually watching her ball reaction, I was like, there's a chance that, definitely felt like she obviously has the ability to, to get to the lead, and she had really good ball reaction last night, and she bowled fantastic. She had the front 5 or 6 down here, and then the 9-pin, and then 2 unfortunate splits for 220. Still had a chance at the lead, and then we hit 1 pair down there, and she hit the pockets 8 times and bowled 2-0 or 190. So just unfortunate, but she bowled great. She got to 3rd or 4th, I believe.
Yeah.
She had a chance actually going into the last game, the final 2 frames or 3 frames. She could have struck out to take the lead and 7-pinned in the 7th. But she's been bowling great, fresh off the 3rd place at the U.S. Open, and she decided to join me last minute up here for the weekend, and she bowled great, and we just had a lot of fun last night. So, it was great.
So we got our final foursomes here. Gerald Alter, Mike Lewandowski, Mira Dangjali, and Carter Dahlmeyer on 31 and 32. Ruth Thatcher, Stephen Boyd, J.J. Elton, and Andrew Kupchak on 33 and 34. Did you find a lot of pair-to-pair differences crossing the house last night?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we started on the high end, and we had bowled the tour stop here a couple years ago, and truthfully, that was so long ago, I feel like I don't even remember, bowling. But I feel like the centers up here in Illinois, the Bolero centers, they're very different pair-to-pair. Some of it is because you're bowling on a squad with a bunch of different types of bowlers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like in this building on this pattern they hooked so early, but it's still 43 feet, I believe, and it's still there's enough shape, but it feels like with the wrong ball you can miss the head pin. But they hooked so early that it forces you to kind of get away from it, and you kind of find a ball that's going to lay back or shim. But when you do that, sometimes the wheat ball is too quick and the strong balls are just too lazy. But yeah, I mean, my block last night, I started with 210, and then I bowled 240, and then I bowled 190 and 180, and then I bowled 299. So, I mean, it was, I give props to anybody who has 200 and something over. And I've always felt like, yes, we're professionals and we're PBA titleists, but sometimes the higher ratio patterns are a disadvantage to us.
Yeah.
Because there's so much friction to where we created on our own, and now you're giving us free hook. And sometimes we can average 250, but when they hook early and, it just depends on where the shape is and, what everybody's doing. But, like I just watched Prather ace one and he wrapped 10. So, it's cool. I give everybody credit who, averages 240, like Dombrowski whacked him last night.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I felt like pair-to-pair they are very different. I'm happy with how I bowled. I haven't bowled very much in the last couple, probably the tour season was tough for me this year. So I took some time off, kind of spent some time with the wife and got focused on her and everything. Just been out there with her every week and just practice every so often. But got some events coming up, bowling this and then a doubles regional with her, and then we're bowling the Lucy and just, gearing up for the end of the year. So definitely get back to practicing here this week when I get home. But once I finally got my legs under me and kind of felt like I was executing well enough, they became easier. And I don't know if that's maybe because it was the last 2 games and, you know, it is what it is.
Things fell into place,
but, yeah, you know, they're very different pair to pair for sure.
Well, and one thing, and I heard Chris Prather, he talked about this last year when he was here, and I've heard a couple players talk about it as well, is it's hard to get your mindset as a PBA Tour player out of making tour moves when you're at an event like this, when the pattern's a little softer and that type of thing. Chris Prather said it got in a little trouble last year, but he got through it and ended up making it to Portland because he was second in the exempt division. How tough is that to get that tour mentality out of your brain at an event like this?
Yeah, you know, usually, you know, if the ball wrap 10s or you know, 4 pins or 6 pins or wrap 7s, you know, the tendency probably is to move maybe 1 or 2 left and get your hand around it and throw it softer. Where here, I feel like sometimes, it's like what I noticed is if you do that, it may not hook at all, you know, or you may move and it hooks earlier. It's really all depends on how you match up and how you get your ball to lay off at, you know, 9, 10, 11 down the lane, because really left or right of 7 doesn't hook. Yep. You know, and then you got the younger generation throwing the urethane balls, so that makes them tighter. And yeah, but as much as being a tour exempt player at this tournament, you want to come out here and obviously try and take over the lead and bowl well. It's hard when, one, you only get 6 games, and you're bowling with a field where there's not a pro in every pair, to where, you know, maybe they would break down differently. Yeah. Like Andrew just bowled 270, and I watched him practice, and I watched him bowl the first 5 frames, and with somebody as hot as he's been the last couple of months and the tour seasons he's had, I can see him, you know, getting there, you know. But you start off with 270 and then you go to the next pair and you may not strike for the first 5 frames. So, and I hope that's not the case, but, you know, it's just so different than, you know, at least at a tour stop, you know, you kind of know what that next pair is doing and who's bowling there and kind of, you know, what's happening. And here it's, you know, they're probably going to move probably, let's see, 1 or 2 pairs, I think, because we went to the end pair to this pair.
Let's see. Yeah, skip a pair land in a second. So,
you know, he could be watching, and, you know, it just all depends what's happening. But that was another good one by Chris. And
that time they all go.
Yeah. Looked like you just ball changed.
So, yeah, went to something probably that gets a little earlier movement on the lane.
Yeah, I went from a Phase 2 to an Ion Pro Solid, which seems to be one of the best ones out there. Hi, Christopher.
Finished strong, Chris. Chris stops by the booth to say hi to Matt and myself. Is it odd? Because we were kind of touching on this last night with, you look at a lot of bowling couples and they have the same sponsors for their bowling balls. They have, like, with the tackets and with the Snodgrasses. And now, looking at you last night, you're on Motive staff, Lauren on Hammer staff. Does that get a little odd when, like you said, you're watching Lauren, helping her now because she's with the PWBA events? Does that make it a little tough for you to tell her what ball maybe to try or that kind of thing, or is it still fairly easy because you still get to know the lineups of the other bowling ball manufacturers?
Yeah, you know, we keep our business, I would say, contractually stuff separate from being a couple, and that's something we've always done since we got together. And when she got out of college, she signed with Storm and I was with Brunswick, and then she came over and I was there, and, you know, for me, it was the right move for me to leave. And I'm very happy being with Motive and the backing that I have from them and the future of what's coming. I will say, because I was with Brunswick for a while, I feel like, yes, you know, I still stay up on the balls. I'm a bit bowling nerd, so I try and learn the balls as much as I can and help her out. Our college team at Maryville is Brunswick, so I obviously need to know what I'm doing to drill the balls and talk, you know, ball changes and selections. We see the lane very different, Lauren and I, which I think is an advantage as a couple who coaches and when she's out on tour. I see the lane one way and she sees it another way, which can hurt us at times, but it's been pretty successful the last couple of years. But in terms of balls, it gets a little bit tricky sometimes because they don't have balls that I feel like she could go to, and we have balls that sometimes I feel like,
they could work in that particular situation.
Yeah, so it does get a little bit difficult. This is the first season that we've been in this situation. Yeah. But for anybody watching, we do have a YouTube channel. It is called The Russo's Bowling, so you will get behind-the-scenes looks at the tour stops and kind of her path and her journey out there, as well as the balls from that company, as well as Motive. We are going to release a behind-the-scenes video here at the LBC that we did last night. Just kind of look at just us bowling and having a good time and kind of what we were seeing out there. So that is fairly new. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers, and we're actually going to do a giveaway once we get there. So for anybody watching, feel free to go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and let us know what you'd like to see. There's kind of an avenue out there for the women's tour. There's not much going on as far as behind the scenes and kind of tracking what's happening out there. So we found an avenue there, and it's just nice to be able to put our relationship and our marriage in the bowling industry out there. I feel like it's been public since we first started dating, so might as well continue with it.
I'll tell you what, she's doing well in the majors this year, because you look at the PWA point standings, and Lauren's 18th, but she's 7th in earnings. So when she's at the Queens and the U.S. Open, she's had a couple of pretty good events at those majors.
Yeah, the Queens, she bowled okay. She's been bowling physically very well. The first week she finished in the top 10, almost made the show, and it was a really hot start. We changed her fit right before we got out there on tour and drilled her a whole bunch of balls, and she came out strong. But physically, she's been bowling great. Ran through some trouble of not being able to get them all down, hitting the pocket a lot. Just couldn't strike enough on some of the patterns, and then we get to the U.S. Open, and she bowled phenomenal. They were incredibly hard. She's a shot maker, so I think when the patterns are a little bit tougher, it's more to her advantage. Okay. And yeah, she finished third, and that's definitely turned the season around. Obviously, the way they do it, the final event is just the top 24 in points plus the winners. So we're talking about maybe not going if she wasn't close or if she didn't win, and now she's in contention, and with some events to go. So it's nice to kind of see her put herself back in there and get confidence, and actually see what the progress that she's making and the work she's putting in with this new fit is helping her. So yeah, she's bowled great. Very proud of her for everything she's worked on, and how she's doing out there. It's not easy every week out there. With their formats are tough. They only get 12 games. And if you're behind, it's really hard to make up. It's not like you have. Let's just say you bowl 18 games. At least you have a couple more games to make up some pins. But yeah, their formats are tough. They only take 12 most of the time. Sometimes 16. But it's just nice to see her bowl well. She led the U.S. Open for a couple games, and just very proud of her.
The tournament coming up in Green Bay in about a week and a half starts on Wednesday, July 9th. The best part about that, and it's been a while since either tour has had one of these, is an arena finals.
Yeah,
in front of all those junior gold bowlers and their families. And that they're expecting 6,000 to 7,000 fans in that arena for bowling. That's going to be phenomenal. If
there's one show to make outside major telecast, it is probably that one. That's probably going to be the biggest crowd they're going to get, unless they, find somewhere that women's bowling is gigantic. That it's nice that they're going to do live television for the women more. I feel like they deserve that. It's expensive, which most people don't understand. It is very expensive. We're very fortunate on the men's tour that we have a backing that wants to put us on TV every week, which is nice. And I've always said the hardest part is to get to television. To me, once you get there, anybody can win. But the hardest thing is to get to TV, and, it's hard to win as well. Everybody sees EJ win all the time, or Simo, Belmo, or, yes, these guys are the best, but it's hard to win. Yeah, Andrew led the U.S. Open, finished second. I led the World Championship by 400. I finished second. So it's so tough, and you just have to take making TV as a win. And if it's meant for you to win that tournament, it's going to happen. But yeah, it's going to be cool to see how that turns out. I believe it's right during opening ceremonies, the television show. So, I'll be out there as well. So that was a sweet messenger there on 25.
Not too shabby there for Jay.
Yeah.
So then you'll be at the trade show and stuff. So
I will be.
You'll be there supporting Lauren during the event.
I
and
will
then
be
at the trade show.
We'll be in Green Bay for the tour stop, and then we will be there for the trade show, and then Sunday for I think there's one more thing on Sunday, I believe, and then we're heading out. We usually stay for the college team, but we're done. We're not recruiting for this next year. We got 9 girls, so we got a brand new class of freshmen coming in that we're super excited about, and we're at our limit, so we're gonna head home and enjoy some time off before heading to Florida to do bowl doubles, the doubles regional.
Now you're at the Division II level with the college.
Yeah,
right?
So my wife coaches at Maryville University, Division II. I'm a volunteer, so she gets all the credit. I made sure everybody knows that it's all her. I do help out. I drill the balls, and I travel with them when I can as well. And I enjoy it. I enjoy coaching with her. I enjoy watching her do her thing and leading these girls, to be successful. And we enjoy it. So yes, and it's kind of happened by accident, and she fell into it, and she loves it. And every year we're getting more and more talent, and it's been a lot of fun.
Somebody in the chat asked if you couldn't bowl the Lucy with your wife, who would you want to bowl with? I'm going to expand on that, because your good friend Parker Bone, he made the finals this morning at a PBA 50, PBA 60 doubles regional nearby, and I know you'd love to be able to bowl with Parker with that, so let's go both ways. If you can't bowl with Parker in a PBA 50, PBA doubles, and if you can't bowl with your wife at the Lucy, who would be the partners you'd love to bowl with? Yeah,
so funny thing, my wife and I actually don't bowl the Lucy together at all.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I married into a family that has other bowlers, so Lauren bowls with Nick.
So she's got to bowl. She's got to go a step down to bowl with a Pate.
She does, yeah.
Sorry, Nick.
That was part of the deal. And Nick always said that he had dibs on her from the beginning, and I said that's fine. And then I started making the cut more than them, and I was like, come on, come bowl with me. But I enjoy watching her bowl, so I don't mind it. I would love to bowl with her. Just her coming here yesterday and just being able to bowl together was a lot of fun, and we're going to bowl the doubles in Florida. But if it wasn't my wife, the one person I would love to bowl with on the women's tour, that is a good question, because I feel like there is a lot of talent out there.
Right.
That's tough, because my wife is a pro bowler. That's tough. If I had to pick one right now, it's probably Jordan Snodgrass.
Okay.
She's got immense amount of talent. She strikes a whole bunch. She's just one of Lauren's best friends. So the safe route would be bowling with Jordan. On the other side of the token here, it has to be a 50 bowler, right?
Yeah, if you had to bowl like an over-under doubles.
Yeah. If it's not Parker, John Janowitz.
There you go.
I went to Florida. I went to Weber for 4 years. So, being around JJ for that long, and Team USA, we traveled overseas together, and I got to room with him for a week. And, I just learned so much from the guy. And it's back up here on.
Yeah, Lavina. That's she's bowled that way since she started bowling a couple of years. She's only a couple of years into the game. I know her from the Milwaukee area. So.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I actually thought she had the front six, and I was like, wow, that's awesome. Regardless, it's good. She bowled 230 the first game. So, John Janowitz would be my pick there.
Can't go wrong with JJ.
Yeah, I try and bowl every PBA 50 event with Parker. Obviously growing up together, and now we manage a bowling facility together with my family and his family, and that's been a lot of fun as well. So I would say John Janowitz.
Yeah. So we're gonna stay here with John Schwengel.
Well, she's got the Kingpin Rose ball there.
Yeah, she does.
She knows what she's
It's
doing.
awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, her and her husband, Billy, and their son, Aiden, really have gotten into the game. Billy's a federal agent in the Milwaukee area,
Wow.
and he bowls to let stress out, as he says. You'll see him come up in a minute.
Well, he's at the front since, so
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So, yeah, a pair of them on here with Schwengel and Feldy.
Little two-hander right there.
Boom. Oh, come on, man.
Man, that was a good shot.
You see the disappointment on Aiden right there. I got robbed.
You know, for somebody who throws it back up, like, that is good.
Yeah.
It's hard to control. Like, I give everybody credit who throws it back up for, like, not just for fun, but to actually bowl for score. Like, I give them a lot of credit to do it consistently because it is very hard. Like, I can't back up at all, and I'm two-handed, and I have no chance at it. But it's consistent.
Well, watching Deal Bernard last night, I mean, how much is that? Seeing him all of a sudden, you deciding to use every board on the lane.
Yeah,
in his hand. That's
I don't know. That's hard,
incredible.
man. It's cool to do. I always say though, if the other side of the lane is playable, why not play it?
Yeah.
Like our side of the lane wasn't very difficult, so I always think if you have an opportunity to play that side of the lane, that's just how I feel.
Aiden, way to go, buddy. Taking 10 down. It was funny because I do a bowling show in Milwaukee, a TV show called the Bruce City Bowling Show, and Billy and Lavina were on there earlier in the year, and Lavina almost beat Billy because it's only 4 frames.
Oh, yeah.
So, so it's pretty, like, there's a lot of pressure on these scratch bowlers to come out.
Two-finger.
Yeah. Palmer like Tom Doherty.
Yeah.
Yeah, powerful. Definitely a powerful game for Billy. So, but yeah, it's fun watching when bowlers only have 4 frames to do something, and even the scratch bowlers are like, yeah, this is a lot different.
Yeah.
This is a little different kind of pressure. So, I wonder if Schwengel and Welch, they both work at the same pro shop part-time in Milwaukee at Bowlers headquarters, and I wonder if they teamed up in the doubles.
Yeah, you know, the one thing I didn't realize is that us pros could bowl together in the doubles. So I bowled with my wife last night. We entered doubles, and I walked in today, and Andrew was like, "Hey, we could have bowled doubles," and I was like, "Well, I didn't know, or else I would have entered us." That's unfortunate break there.
There's been a few. There's been a bigger rash than normal of those pocket 710s over the last couple of days. It seems like, or we're just unfortunately catching more of them here in the booth. But yeah, that's just a vicious 710.
I do think the 330 something over for the Open Classic division is untouchable.
Yeah.
I mean, the gentleman had bat-to-bat 300s, I believe. Is that the same person?
Yeah, Weston Griffin had 28 in a row. Started with 833, and then, yeah.
To me, like, that's so much score on this. Like, us as PBA members, like, I can't even imagine bowling 300 and something over on this for 6 games, yet alone bat-to-bat 300s. Like, obviously it can happen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's happened before, but, like, it's just, because I bowled already, I can't imagine being like, yeah, I'm going to average 250 every game. I just couldn't imagine doing that. Like, EJ didn't even get to 270 over, and the guy strikes a whole bunch. Like, to me, if you're going to bowl bat-to-bat 300s, you're meant to win this.
Yeah. And the funniest part about that with Weston Griffin is it was a special squad on a Tuesday night during the middle of the run of the PBA Junior World Series of Bowling that was held here, and he was going to take the night off. And his mom said, I paid for that entry.
Yeah.
You are bowling. I'm like, you know how much you owe your mother the rest of your life now.
Yeah, well, if he wins the 25 Gs.
Right.
And they bowled during the World Series was here?
Junior World Series was here, so they bowled during the day, Monday, Tuesday for the Junior World Series. And then Tuesday night they had a special squad to kind of mark the halfway spot. And then they had Wednesday, Thursday competition in the Junior World Series of bowling.
Good for him.
Yeah. And a very familiar face that you recognize from out east, Anna Anthony. Took care of business a couple of times in the girls 18 and under division. So that's definitely a rising name that I'm sure a lot of college coaches are keeping an eye on.
She won PBA Junior a little while back in Reno.
She won the Parker Bone, the third 15 and under girls last year. So just talk to Parker. He's got that date set, so that's always fun to get out to Howell Lanes.
Yeah.
Get to see your big picture on the wall
Yeah,
next to
my
Parker
picture's
and Johnny.
on the wall, and, you know, they're the center's going to look different next time you go there, Phil. They're actually painting the building this week. So you'll see the whole building painted next time you show up, and a couple other things happening there. So I won't give away too much.
Nice.
But, yeah, it'll be a nice change there. Obviously, my dad puts in a lot of hard work with Leslie, and Parker travels a lot. But, yeah, we do a lot of work at that facility, and my stepbrother Mike, he's a mechanic. He runs the bat. So, yeah, we do a lot of work, put in a lot of time and effort, and we appreciate everybody who supports our bowling center, who wears our merchandise and who goes there and gives the opportunity to train. Yeah. So
I love rev rates when I'm there with the live streaming, because the main part of the tournament happens in the main part of the center at Howell Lanes, and the finals on Sunday are all in rev rates at 5-lane training facility that's there. And it's like a TV studio. It's so cool with the finals there. It's
a unique, we found a unique business opportunity with the Parker and I grew up there with Johnny and Parker's kids, and Mike, my stepbrother, he grew up there as well. So all of us, kind of cool to be able to, go in there and kind of rebrand some of the facility and, make a training center for people to come in and play. And there is not one around there like it.
No.
It's got more than just lanes. We have a VIP room to do parties and, events and functions. We actually originally that was going to be like a game-ish kind of room. Why we got the TVs and kind of we had bought some other stuff, and we decided that maybe it'll just be more for parties and hosting other things, and it worked out. I'm very glad we did do it that way, because it worked out to be something fantastic. And for anybody who's seen the center before we remodeled it, it's crazy what it looks like now, and it's definitely got a really cool feel to it for sure. I always appreciate going back home and being able to spend some time there and just kind of do my own thing.
Yeah, and it's so neat because it's not just if you can work for Parker Bowling the third, you can do that as well, but Rev Rates lets other coaches come in and use the facility. Hey, if they want a certain pattern for a bowler, you guys will put that out there for them. It's so neat how you work with the bowling community to be inclusive with coaching and other aspects, oil patterns, all kinds of stuff.
It was a very hard model. When my dad had first talked to me about this, because I was at Kettle for 4 years, so I kind of got to see how they do a lot of things with their facility, and it was a hard model to figure out. Like, if we're not going to have certified coaches for available other than Parker and Leslie, how else are we going to do it?
Yeah.
What other way can we bring people in? And we didn't want to just have some random person say, hey, I'm a coach, and now I get this discount and I can work with my son. There's requirements and other things that you have to have to be considered a coach to, use the opportunity at the facility. But it's been really great. We hosted Dick Ricker Bowling Camp. It's a big East Coast camp that Tony Bilello does in our facility, and we put out any pattern, and for any event we do junior gold practices before junior gold throughout the week, and we do as much as we can to give back to the youth and to really anybody. It's got a big following so far, and it's just nice to kind of see it all come together.
Well, pray they're not with the start he wanted today. 2:18 opening game, looking to get the front five on an open here. We'll get back to Andrew Anderson's 10th frame because he's looking to chase down another game in the 270s.
It's pretty good.
It's kind of, if you go back on the PBA LBC Facebook page this week, we actually do an interview with Weston Griffin, and he's actually, if you just took a quick look at the still shot to start, you think, what are they doing talking to Chris Prather?
Yeah.
I mean, and he was wearing one of Chris Prather's designed jerseys at the same time. So, and we're talking with Weston, he goes, I work in a pro shop part-time, helping out, and that way, I can drill my own equipment and save a few bucks and help other people out. And he goes, I saw somebody post on Facebook, I just had Chris Prather drill me a bowling ball.
That's awesome, yeah. That is pretty cool. It's not, I wouldn't be mad if I looked like Chris Prather or bowled like him. So, obviously Andrew's off to a really hot start and can bowl 270. I was looking at some of the scores from the other exempt players, and Troop started with 4 250s and then had 180 to finish. So I hope that if Andrew stays hot, you know, that doesn't happen. But it, like, when he makes the flip, that's pretty good. I think he's also on a point where anything he bowls on is China to him. Just how, you know, it happens when you start bowling good and you win, and then you go bowl, take over the lead at nationals, and, you know, now you're going to average 290 here. It's like, you know, it just all falls into play.
Yeah. Well, he moves to 31 and 32 next, so he still stays on the high end for one more game before making the turn.
That pair hooks a bunch.
Yeah.
We bowled on that pair first last night, and I do watch the streams when I'm at home to turn it on. I watched the PBA 51 to see what was happening, and you know, I did hear that pair hooks a bunch.
Yeah.
And I kind of noticed it when we bowled on it, and then we made the flip, and I was like, whoa. But yeah, I mean, I think when you're at a point where you're far enough left, you might not see it at all because you're naturally going that way. But it looks like Andrew's getting his ball to lay off at 11-12, which guys that are bowling well are able to do. Throwing the Ion Pro solid. Similar ball to the one that I threw last night for a lot of my score. And Prather's throwing that one as well. So I don't know much about that ball. Unfortunately, it's not from Motive. So I know it's a asymmetrical shiny ball, and it's a solid cover, obviously with being Ion Pro solid. And I don't know the specs is too much other than that, but it's a smoother ball. So to me, it makes a lot of sense on this much shape, and with the hook in the front, you still need something to pick up. So the shine will get it through the front, and that one's trying to hook a little. Oh, that one hooked too. That was a little bar. Yeah. That one was right fast, and to me, if your ball goes right fast and it goes high, that's okay. It's more so if it goes right fast and it doesn't hook, then you're like, well, no, I got no room to the right. So spare here for 250.
Yeah.
No, 240. At 270. So he'll bowl two.
He's past DJ's pace.
So he's on pace. Well, he's got to get to Dombrowski. Dombrowski's got 260. So, you know, you try and split it up, right? So, like, you say 780, right? That's kind of what you're looking at, because that's 200. That's 100. No, that's more than that. That's 320.
Yeah,
so 740. So 740 is set, and you're like, oh, that's easy. Yeah. You know, what do you mean? I can bowl 740 on this. You know, and he's gonna have 5. He's gonna have 5-teen.
Yeah.
So he still needs 230 to be on pace, which is a lot.
Right.
Still.
And I wonder if he knows that the characteristics of 31 and 32, that he's gonna have to make probably a decent jump left with his feet. And his eyes.
I mean, I don't know who. Like, you know, obviously it's the third game, so it could have leveled out, but we'll have to keep an eye on that to see what's happening once it gets to that pair.
I would not want to be arrested by that Billy Feldy guy that just stopped by the booth, man. You try to put up a fight with him, I think he's going to take care of you.
And that's why he's a federal agent, and that's why I'm sitting back here.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, he loves the bowl. Just he says it lets him get aggression from his job out, and he gets to have fun with today. Now, like you said, you got the bowl with your wife last night.
Yeah.
He's bowling with his wife and his son today. So,
very close friend of mine. He's a lieutenant in our city of O'Fallon, where we live, and he bowls lead with us on Wednesdays. We bowl league in the winter, just for, you know, to enjoy the time, and he bowls some side tournaments, and I got to go down to Ozarks with him, and we bowled together. So, you know, it's his enjoyable thing that he's done growing up, and you know, outside of being an officer, you know, it's something he gets to do with his friends and family. So I give anybody credit who works in law enforcement and, you know, is able to separate that from being out here with, you know, and just enjoying their time, not working, you know, or being on duty. And they go through so much, you know, every year, and, you know, obviously they put their life on the line every day. So we appreciate all the.
Take that 9 out, Chris Prather.
That's one of the classic Chris Prather hits. It's the trip 4 and that one there with the 9 pin. You know, so Prather strikes out for 270. That'll get him a 90.
Yeah.
What do you bowl? 218 the first game?
218, yep.
So that'll get him a 97, which will be, we're looking at 740 a number. That's going to be 280 over. So he needs 250,
Yeah.
which you're like, oh yeah, I just bowled 270, no problem, right? You really can only miss twice, so gonna be interesting.
And you can put up a score, sure thing, but then there is quite a few PBA exempt players yet to bowl the last 2 weekends of the event. We've got a dozen scheduled. There might be a couple of late ads as well. We'll go over that in Game 3, all the players yet to bowl for the exempt division, because you still have a chance to bowl with them. I mean, there were a couple of people bowling around Matt and Lauren Russo last night, a couple of people bowling around Dio Bernard and Bailey Maverick and Patrick Dombrowski. You're not bowling against them. That's the best part. Their scores are in their own other divisions, but you get to hang out, and it's a looser atmosphere for you guys during this event. You can say hi in between shots and that kind of thing.
I like the opportunity to wear shorts.
Yeah, that's always a good one, too.
That's something that I always appreciate. Obviously we try and talk to the higher ups about being like golf. Like the golf guys can wear shorts if they would like to. I'm into golf, but I don't know all the rules, right? Like or the PGA, but I watch it. But like I feel like as long as they're dressy, like give us the opportunity to wear shorts. I understand on television, absolutely not. Like I totally am all for the pants, whatever. But like during qualifying, like when we bowl somewhere hot, like let us wear something other than pants. Not every center's cold.
Right.
So, like, we were over in Hong Kong this past year, Prather and I and a couple other guys, and when I tell you it was cold, Phil, it was about 55 degrees in the bowling center every single day, and the worst part was like, we couldn't get warm. Like, we were buying hand warmers, and we had winter jackets. Literally, I was wearing lawn sleeves every day because I couldn't get warm. I mean, it was the coldest place I've ever been in my entire life. And as much as you don't want to bowl hot, bowling frozen is not good.
No, everything's
you can't
stiff.
hold on to it. Like it literally was. I feel like I can bowl in any weather now because I bowled in the Arctic tundra for 2 weeks. The great thing was the approaches were nice because it wasn't sticky.
There's no humidity in there with it being so cold. And
there was it's a brand new facility. So actually, USA is going back there this year for the for Worlds in November. So. We'll see who gets the opportunity to go there if we're going back. But I will remember, if I do get selected, I will be bringing about 5 winter coats because it's going to be about 10 degrees in that building.
Gloves, hand warmers.
Yeah, I mean, we literally, I remember, like, nobody brought hand warmers, and they have, the mall it's in a mall, and the mall is really cool. They've got different stores out there, so there's this one store strictly dedicated to, like, running. But it's not Adidas. It's not like it's called Decathlon, and so it's all running. And they literally have shelves of hand warmers. And I went there and bought like 3 packs of them. They were like $5, and we're literally just sitting there cracking these hand warmers. And I bought like these back warmers that you put on your back. It was insane like how cold it was in there. And
the last place you'd expect that with these kind of tropical climates in Hong Kong.
And it was warm in Hong Kong. Like it was nice. We went in November. It was nice. We went in January. But what we learned was the air conditioning unit was hooked up to the mall, and because the bowling center was above all the restaurants, they had to keep the bowling center cool. So what the AC was in the mall was the same running in the bowling center, so there was no way to change it. So we were looking at 50 degrees, 60 degrees. Insane.
It'd be like ice bowling.
Well, it should have been ice bowling. It should have been ice bowling.
There's I don't think Chris Prather, I know, never did it. Parker did it. If you ever talked to Parker when he was in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, ask him about ice bowling.
I will ask him. I just went over and saw him this morning. I will, when I see him again, I'll ask him about it.
It's there used to be a tournament in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, the Sean Yonan Memorial, and they used to rotate pros coming into the event. And one year it was Parker, and then between the qualifying Saturday and the final Sunday, there's a big ice bowling fundraiser in a hockey rink, and they set up like 22 lanes that big old wood railroad ties and stuff like that, and they make 22 bowling lanes. It's still 60 feet from the foul line to the head pin, and you can use the railroad ties to bounce your ball off of it and everything. You can't hook the ball, obviously.
Well, of course,
people try
because it's ice. Yeah.
So
that's pretty cool, actually.
And it's so you bowl 4 frames, 7, 8, 9, 10 in your ice bowling. You bowl as a team, but if you throw a perfect game of 120, you win a new car.
Wow,
And
that's
in-
got to be hard. I mean,
In 35 years, they've given away 2 cars.
I was going to say, I wonder how many cars, because that's there. Yeah, that's. Have you ever heard of foaling?
There's actually a foaling place by Bolero Wauwatosa
There
where
is.
they had the World Series of Bowling a few years back.
There is.
Yeah.
I've never done foaling, but
Yeah.
when we were here, Parker, Brandon, Justin, and I went there to look at the facility, and it
Yeah.
was pretty cool to check it out. It is the craziest concept I've ever seen in my entire life. And I would love to try it, but
Yeah.
I'll stick to just throwing a ball at the pins versus a football.
I can't imagine after all the years of underhand with that
Yeah.
trying to go overhand
Yeah,
all of
exactly.
a sudden.
Exactly.
There goes the rotator
Yeah.
cuff. Then
I wouldn't hit any of the pins.
You McCune yourself, and all of a sudden, the worst thing that's ever happened to the sport of bowling. Kevin McCune not being able to throw overhand anymore.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say the worst thing, but you get what I'm saying. That's what turned McCune's career
Yeah.
focus from baseball to bowling. And he's done a bit. I haven't seen him at the LBCs yet this year. He's probably going to be one of those late ads, as he hasn't missed it yet. So, and it's not too far from home for him in Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana.
It's an hour, maybe hour 15 from where he's at. So, probably their tough 10th frame here.
Yeah, that one looked like it was a little bit left down the lane, but like it wasn't sits bad.
Yeah.
It's so hard because you were talking about like the tour mindset, or there's so many times where we do bowl on stuff on tour where one or two left lays there, or at least sits pins, or that one got sit. So that's a tough finish there. I had 220 going into the 10th last night. One of the games I got sits and split, and I was like, well, that's unfortunate, but it happens, and all it takes is one game to turn around. Tonight, 300 is out there. It's funny because Eric Jones was bowling next to me, and he had the front 11 or front 10 and bowled 289. Yeah. So after I bowled 180 sits, I doubled in the 10th, and I looked at Eric and I said, you know what? I'm going to bowl 300 the next game. And I was almost like speaking into it, and it was funny. Like I had the front 5, and I was like, okay. Then I had the front 7, and I was like, wait a second here. And then I had the front 9, and I was like, wow, I'm actually talking into existence here. About it. Andrew started with double, so he's got 525. So I think if he has 220 or more, I think he's got a pop at it. That'll give him close to 750. So,
and he's definitely made that bump left with his feet. So he must have had some intel, because he watched maybe watched Jay first on the other lane. But Jay's got the
and
front
sometimes
3
it's just
too.
a natural progression.
Okay.
He threw one right and it hooked in the 10th, and it's sometimes like, you know what, I'm just going to keep moving. So it could so much be just a natural progression, but it looks like, obviously he is further left. He's kind of not shaping it as much and kind of playing more of the hold, getting his hand around to get it to hook down the lane. So it's, to me, I think to catch Dombrowski, he will have to have 220 over or more going into the last game. Dombrowski had 250, so I think somewhere in there he would have to have that. So we're going to keep an eye on Andrew here and see if he can get the front 4. Pretty good there, carried the 10. But for anybody who has any questions regarding just about anything, feel free to send them in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer them as best as I can about bowling or anything bowling related, or any questions you might have. But we are rolling into game 3 here at the LBC here at Bolero Mountain Prospect. Some guys started game 3, and other people are just getting into game 3. So don't forget, if you do want to bowl with Andrew Anderson or Chris Prather, when you enter this tournament or show up to bowl, go ahead and you can add them on your doubles team. And so if Andrew puts up the leading score, you might as well want to add him to your doubles team. Or if you'd like to bowl with me, you can enter as well.
You can't add in post. You gotta bowl. You gotta pay the entry before the first player bowls.
Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully a few people added.
Hopefully people added them. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah.
So like, Justin Bone added me on doubles before I bowled.
Yeah.
And then when I showed up today, Andrew was like, "Hey, we could have added doubles," and I was like, "Well, I wish I would have known that. I would have put us in because I mean, I'd take my 170 and give us a chance. At, so. But yeah, hopefully everybody out there added Andrew, EJ, and Dombrowski would have been my dark horse.
John Burke came out of the gates on that squad on Friday with 754.
Yeah, Rudy had 210 over before, and some craziness.
There's definitely but that's the coolest part, because even if you're not going to see the PBA player that's on, they're on a different squad or whatever.
You never know.
Yeah, it's like Tom Clark calls it fantasy bowling, and it's kind of like what it is. So, I like the one they did this week with the on the PBA Facebook page and PBA socials with here's $15. Who's your team?
Yeah, that is a. There's some steals on that one. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, looking to steal a 5th strike in a row is one AA Andrew Anderson. Oh, watch out. I mean, let's face it, there's one guy that kind of got in the way of a second player of the year possibility for AA, and that's EJ Tackett.
That is. Unfortunately, the LBC doesn't count.
Yeah.
Well, it's,
I don't know. If you ask Patrick Dombrowski after he knocked the score out last night, he goes, that's a little revenge for the Viper Championship this year.
Yeah, the Lucy is coming up. That one doesn't count to points, but obviously, the Lucky Larson that they're going over there to bowl. So, there's, it's hard to do what EJ's doing. Andrew's both phenomenal the entire year. I think, to me, if Andrew wins the U.S. Open, by far he's Player of the Year by a mile. So it's tough. I mean, obviously it's a vote, but everybody looks at stats and everything. So it'll be interesting. It'll be close. It'll be very close. I think both are deserving of the award. So.
Oh wow! Hey, I didn't know that today. Stu Williams with a birthday. He's not quite up to the PBA 50 Tour yet, but we'll see Stu next week, as he's going to be bowling on the July 5th 9 a.m. squad. Chase Nadu on that squad as well. Another player bowling. There's still a little room in the 9 a.m. squad next week on Saturday. 2 p.m. squad sold out. Christian Ascona will be on that squad. And then Sunday, July 6th, here's a great lineup. There's only a spot left. So if you want to bowl and maybe have the chance with A.J. Johnson, Sean Rash, or Boog Crow on your pair.
That's a good. That's a good. Good 3 players right there.
Like I said, and there's some other players, like I know Kevin McCune and others, that aren't on our exempt pro list yet. So, and then wrapping it up on the 12th and 13th, Stubler, Sterner, Sherman, and O'Neill. And of course, I saw Brad Miller, even though he's not on the exempt list, he'll be bowling in the Open Classic division. But I saw Brad Miller on the lineup for that squad as well. And next Sunday as well, the 2-time defending Women's Classic champion Liz Johnson will be here, trying to make it a 3-peat. Liz has only averaged over 250 for her 12 games of LBC competition over the last 2 years.
Why don't they just name the pattern after her? Just call it the Liz Johnson Tournament of Champions.
We may have to change that. I mean, they do have the Chris Warren Trophy for the RPI guys. And,
why not just call it the Liz Johnson pattern? Other people have patterns. You might as well just name one after the go.
Right. Yeah, Danielle McEwen's got a pattern in PBA Junior. So there we go. Maybe add it to the PBA Junior selection as well for Liz Johnson.
If she wins the LBC for a 3rd time in the women's division, she should just have the pattern named after her.
Well, they could do a different trophy for the women.
They could. The Johnson.
The mini Liz.
Yep.
You don't want to go.
I was thinking about it last night. I was like, man, I could have won a little dude.
Yes.
I know. I couldn't believe. I was so mad I didn't bowl 300. It is cool to be in that situation again, like having the opportunity to bowl 300 and, new company, new balls, and, it's cool. So Andrew's going to have – oh, that's out of hook. That is
not your fault.
that is the one there. To me, it's funny. I was talking to Eric Jones last night. He was like, you just need – if one bad one strikes, you're going to have a chance at 300. And the front 8 was great. The one in the 9th I threw pretty far left and it hooked. And I was like, he's not wrong. I threw one bad one and it struck. So not that Andrew's was bad. It was further right than he wanted it. And it hooked and struck. So he's going to have a chance here. I think if Andrew bowls 800, Phil, I got to put my money on that. He's going to take over the lead. I mean, 825. He needs 40 over in 3 games.
He could pull a 5.
Yeah.
Remember what Graham did last year with 1631?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think,
that'd be amazing.
Sorry,
to get past
Patrick,
that record.
but,
Wow, pocket 6-pin on the front 6.
On the front 6.
That's some entry angle. That's gonna be a little painful for Jay there. He may want to dust that one off. Ouch.
Yeah, and Ryan Van Het today, Andrew's bowling with 515 for 2, so he's a little bit further right, which I think helps. Having somebody a little bit further right than you, and if their ball hooks, you obviously know you have to move. If their ball doesn't hook, it may be a little bit tighter. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. So obviously, players would you be RPI eligible if you bowled more? I don't know how that works this year.
I am RPI eligible.
Okay.
But I am exempt for next season.
Yeah.
As a titleist, and from what I was told with the 2-year points list, I am exempt based on the 2-year point list. So I am RPI eligible, but I am not around that weekend. My brother-in-law is getting married in Florida, so I will not be able to bowl. But I was very much considering bowling the RPI. I would have to bowl a couple more regionals, which I was planning on doing, but I'm still going to bowl some regionals. Just no RPI for me, which I would prefer not have to bowl the RPI, obviously. But yes, I am RPI eligible. I just will not be bowling.
Yeah, it's back at the National Bowling Stadium. They did not treat you nicely this year for supposedly being the lefty haven everybody says it's been for all these years. That definitely wasn't the case in 2020, 2025.
It was not. Really, nothing was nice to me this year. Yeah. Learning a lot about the bowling balls and just went through a lot mentally about just bowling and everybody has their struggles and things they deal with, and I learned a lot. I feel like it's only going to make me a better player moving forward, so I'm excited to see where the tour goes next season and kind of where we're going to be at, and I'm excited to get it back out there. I feel like I needed to just fall back in love with the sport. I had a great season 2 years ago, obviously winning and everything that happened at the World Series, and then I decided to change companies, and which I'm very happy with, but obviously the outside noise is tough to deal with, and not having success right away and trying to almost felt like I was trying to rematch the season I had previously, which is very hard to do. So just kind of felt like I wasn't really loving competing, or I was kind of just feeling like I didn't have enough to be out there. So definitely glad that it's over and I'm able to just kind of take a step back and just be more enjoyed with it. It is hard to enjoy it when you're not bowling well, but you've got to find ways to kind of bring all that back in. So I think bowling these smaller tournaments and just kind of being with friends and family and finding something outside of bowling. My whole life has been in the bowling industry. I grew up in a bowling center. My parents own a bowling center, and I bowl for a living. So it's tough, and just trying to find things outside of bowling to do and just be with friends, I think has helped a lot. So it's going to be nice to kind of see where that goes next season.
Paul Schroeder, physiologist to the PBA Tour, only on the same pair with Chris Prather. We'll check in on Prather momentarily here. We've been sticking with this big string for Anderson. We'll continue to do so.
I think if Andrew wins this LBC with this Ion Pro Solid, they just need to rename all the Ions to him.
Let him get his own bowling ball, a la Belmo, and now Norton Duke's.
He's talking to him. Andrew and I are really close. And talking to him every couple of days, it's always Ion Pro. you know, he won this year with the Ion Pro, won the Tour Finals with the Ion Pro, U.S. Open through Ion Match and Ion Pro. He's thrown the Ion Pro solid. So it's kind of like that. Just everything around it is him. And well, if he gets the one in the 9th, he's going to have 800. I don't see an Open coming from him in the 10th.
Right.
So it's funny because I talked to him this morning and asked how I bowled. I told him, I said, they hooked early. I said, they hooked early, and it's very easy to miss the head pin. And he said, I said, well, Dombrowski whacked him last night. And he said, I'm going to have to strike a whole bunch today. And, well, 825 out of the gate is a whole lot.
So Anderson gets to practice at the Turbo Tech Center. He's with Turbo. He works for them when he's not out on tour. Saw a funny picture after he got back from a recent PBA event where he's at his desk working.
Yeah,
yeah. Do you have an arrangement with somebody, a center near you in Missouri, where you can kind of get in there and grind it out? And
yeah, absolutely.
Too?
There's a center called Shrewsbury Lanes. It is family owned by a couple. They've owned it for a decent amount of time. We got to know them over the years, and they've taken us in and allowed us to practice there, and our college team actually bowls there as well. It's a beautiful facility. Anybody who's seen videos on our page or on our channel, it is a retro Brunswick Center, so they got
the Gold Crown. Yeah, I've seen it. Okay.
That is where we practice. They've been very fortunate to let us. We're very fortunate that they allow us to come in and practice. And you know, we know the head mechanic there. Lauren actually went to school. That's got a hook. That's a great one there. Lauren went to school with the head mechanic. Just they give us the time to come in and bowl, and very grateful for them. I feel like if it wasn't for them, I don't know where we'd be bowling at. So yeah, we do have our own. It's not a training facility. It's just a family-owned center. 24 lanes, and the nice thing is 2 ends of the house play so different. Bowling on 23 and 4 a lot, kind of know that high end of the house, and sometimes we bowl on the end pair on 1 and 2, and that they're a little bit different. So it's a relatively tough facility. We bowl a lot of tournaments there as well. So it's really nice to be able to have somewhere to go and practice. Any chance that we can, or they let us in when we need to.
So we're waiting for Andrew Anderson to get up, looking for perfection in the 10th frame. And we are here at the LBC National Championships. Bolero Mount Prospect, once again the site. We had the lead of the PBA exempt division taken down last night by Patrick Dombrowski, as Dombrowski put up a 14.66, or a plus 266 in the PBA scoring system. 6-game total. Andrew Anderson's going to be almost all the way there here in 3 games with his start, as he is into game 3. Looking for perfection on the front 9, can get to 825 for his first 3 games. Matt Russo in the booth with me, and Matt, Andrew has just got it going on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody. I don't think. Sorry, Patrick. I don't think your lead is safe anymore.
No.
There is plenty of games left, but I don't think it's going to go the opposite direction. I mean, he's going to need 40-something over in 3 games. Way doable. He is going to make the flip. They are a little bit different down here, but I think at this point, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, he's coming down to 5 and 6 after this game, looking for number 11 in a row. Good-looking set of calves on that young man. Able to bowl in shorts here at the PBA LBC National Championships, and he may petition for that to be permanent on the PBA Tour if he keeps rolling the way he is
I always
right
said
now.
shorts on the PBA Tour would be fantastic.
There you go.
Tom Clark, if you're listening, please. I bowled 299 in shorts. Andrew's going to bowl 300 in shorts. Yes, I'm calling it now. I don't see him not striking.
Right.
So there's been enough score in shorts that we should be allowed to wear shorts. They let us wear shorts for the strike derby, but I don't think that's enough. I think we need more.
Well, Andrew Anderson's definitely putting on his own strike derby clinic right now. It might be at a little slower pace than what we saw at Foxview Lanes and Waukesha earlier in the PBA season. But here's for 825, 800 already in the bag, and perfection.
It's pretty good.
And the Mini Duke going home with Andrew Anderson, number 8 of this PBA LBC National Championships, and AA well on his way to taking down this LBC PBA exempt round.
Grand Final, that's the highest, right? 13 what?
1631 plus 431.
So Andrew needs 800 again.
807 would get him past.
I unfortunately don't think that is in stretch.
Yep.
But
5 and 6 is going to be huge. How he reacts, as you said, to the turn.
Yeah.
So Chris Prather having some struggles this game open.
Yeah, this is
the
about where they
fourth.
started to transition last night. I think it really depends on how you see him. Prather started on 5 and 6, I believe. So Andrew's going to go to that pair.
I'm sure they're going to chat a little bit, I would think. Because let's see where we got here. Prather started on 5 and 6. And then he went to 9 and 10. Now he's on 15 and 16. So Anderson's going to go, actually he's going to go 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 13 and 14. So I apologize. 3 and 4 is next for Andrew Anderson, but he'll hit 5 and 6 just like Prather did. So if Prather gives us some information on 5 and 6, could that help him on 3 and 4, or is that just a wide open canvas?
Yeah, I unfortunately think they're, like, to me, this end of the building is a lot tighter. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And some people's balls just don't see it. Like, right, you make the move, you flip ends, you just pull the monster score, you come down here and your ball naturally strikes. So it honestly might not even matter. But that's going to be the telling situation.
If you got a question for Matt Russo, drop it in the chat on YouTube or on Facebook. Yeah, Linda says the ladies get to wear shorts, so why not the guys?
That's what I'm saying.
Valid
Unfortunately,
point.
it's another organization. So.
Yeah. Ken getting to enjoy watching some PBA Tour stars on his birthday today, so happy birthday, Ken.
Happy birthday.
Oh, and here's a good question, and this is one you'll easily be able to answer. Is this tournament 78D urethane, or is it open to all USBC approved bowling balls?
78D urethane, from what I was told. There's rules. You can't throw purple hammers. I know that.
You can't throw actually in this LBC event?
From what I was told, I have not seen one purple hammer go down the line.
Right.
So I would say, my guess is the urethane ball is. I don't know. I've talked to Neil a couple times.
Yeah.
And I asked Neil before I showed up because I had heard some different things.
Yeah.
I do know that you can throw any bowling ball that's
Right.
USBC approved.
Right.
International balls are allowed as well. The urethane, I want to say 78D, and I could be totally wrong. But hey, why don't you say hi to all the...
I was shaking from all the coffee. Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody.
Double A, 8 1/4.
8
for the
1/4.
front three.
We will take it.
Now
Little
you're
Duke.
Now you got a mini Duke. Now you're coming down to 3 and 4. What's the game plan with making the turn from one end to the other?
So the companions I'm bowling with are from Michigan. We're all buddies, and I told them actually we just got to get off the high end. I think the low end's better. So now I'm screwing myself because I don't think I can top that.
Well,
so.
one thing now. You've thrown the 8th 300 of the PBA LBC National Championships. You're hitting 5 and 6 game 5. 3 of them have been there too. So
I don't know if you're setting me up for success or failure. One of the two.
Just throwing a stat out there for you. So
I think it's Russo in the booth. We're gonna have to get this more often when I'm
it
bowling.
could be. So Matt Russo should get 10% of the check after you win.
I'll give you 2%. You want to
Yeah, he had 299 last night.
Is that like, so if I get the mini Duke, do you get the extra mini Duke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you will get extra. So we'll keep an eye on you game 4. Thanks for stopping by, Andrew.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Good luck as he'll keep rolling. You know, we got a little tangle there. There we go. Get that out of there. So, yeah, I haven't seen, even with people that could throw because you guys on tour can't throw certain, they can't throw the purple or the pitch black because of the age rule, too, with bowling balls 2 years or less. That's not in effect for here, but I haven't seen even a lot of amateur players.
Yeah, here's what I will say. I haven't seen one, so I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
You can only throw 78D urethane balls. I do know that any chance a Brunswick bowler can throw a purple hammer, they will throw it. So I would, on the safe side, let's just say no.
Yeah.
You can only throw 78D. You can also find the rules online. The approved balls, I believe, are on the website as well under the LBC Championships on PBA.com.
Right. Unfortunately, Laura, no list of the bowlers that are on the squad. We've been going back and forth mostly here in the booth feed with Andrew Anderson and Chris Prather. If there's somebody in particular that you're looking for, Pat, drop it in the chat, and I'll try to get an answer for you on where they are bowling today so you can go and jump on one of the other feeds. Keep us on here in the main feed because we got Matt Russo answering all kinds of questions, and we can give you all the information on the hot hands like Andrew Anderson, and we've been following those PBA exempt players.
We do actually have a returning champion who made the clash at Bayside. Name is Derek
Kindig.
Yes.
Yeah.
Derek is actually from the Illinois St. Louis area. I used to bowl lead with Derek on a Monday night sports shot league, and it was cool to see Derek come out here and whack him, and then he made the clash at Maine last year, and I got to watch him bowl that too. So very good guy. There he is on 14.
Yep.
Throws it sweet. Very underestimated game. Doesn't really bowl a whole bunch, just kind of bowls when he can.
Yeah, that show he put on one of the opening weekends in 2023 when we were at Wauwatosa was fun to watch. And
that was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
And I really thought he was going to hold on, and then Trey Heinrichsmeyer came in late in the tournament, and Trey just caught fire and passed him. But back then they had the top three in Open Classic made it.
Yeah.
So Derek Sebo, Carlton Chambers,
and
Trey were the 3 Open Classic representatives in Bayside that opening year. So somebody asking if you're going to be in are you going to get cold water this year? Are you going to be in cold water?
There is a chance. It is on the schedule.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out with the tour. The women's tour is ending August 12th.
Yeah.
In Rochester, so I will be with my wife there. The cold water is not till the 21st. So I'm trying to see what I want to bowl. There is a chance. I do actually bowl well in cold water. I bowled there when they had the tour stop there when Darren won that year. I won the same year, so I did bowl there. I haven't bowled there since, but it is potentially that I'm going to bowl cold water. I look at the regional schedule and decide kind of what I want to bowl when I feel like I have free time. But I'm also enjoying being at home.
Yeah.
Spending time at the pool. With my cats and my wife, so we shall see.
Wait, cats spend time at a pool? They like water? How do you have cats that like water?
Our cats hate the water,
Okay.
but we live in a condo, and our condo backs up to the pool, so they enjoy the view.
Gotcha.
I'm
sure you get some birds.
Yeah, we get a lot of birds, and they love the sun, so the sun comes through as well.
So, breaking news, I'll be in Coldwater live streaming both Minster this weekend before and Coldwater. So thanks to Bowl TV, first of all, for giving us the rights with 10 on the Deck Productions. And then, we'll be streaming those 2 super regionals in August. So I always look forward to getting down to Minster with the Davidson family and with the Hardings family at Coldwater. And, boy, if you win in Coldwater, you deserve it because
it's a
tough
hard
house.
center. It's a tough center. It's always a tough pattern. The pin carry is tough. And Minster, I believe, is on the wood, I think, or used to be.
Used to be. Now it's on. Now it's on synthetics.
So
I was down there last year for that event when Ryan Liederbach took down his 3rd straight, and then he ended up winning. Didn't win Coldwater, but then he won the event after that. So 4 out of 5 in a row in the Central region for Ryan Liederbach last year was pretty much the lock for regional player of the year.
I might have to. The left's pretty good over there, so I might. Maybe I'll take the trip.
I don't know. I haven't looked far enough ahead yet for the pattern or anything like that, but it's always fun.
I don't really think the pattern matters in cold water. They're going to be hard no matter what.
Well, you just don't want cheetah. The outside,
yeah,
the outsides definitely do not play. They did that one year, and I think somebody said the cut was 120 under for 8.
For me, like obviously with being 8 hours away from Ohio, it'd have to be a pattern that I feel like it would be worth me going there. It's not an easy drive, and it's not something I want to get on a plane for either. Right. So, yeah, we shall see.
Somebody in the chat said, what's the guess is the top 5 balls used in this tournament? Well, one of them is going to be this ion that Andrew Anderson's using. That's going to be getting drilled up by a bunch of people before they come
top
here.
Top 5, you know, that's tough because there's so many bowlers and there's so many different styles. I would say we'll just say like types of bowling balls. I think most people are going to throw some kind of mid-performance solid balls. Ion Pro Solid is one of them. Pride Liberty from Motive is there. I would say Brunswick, like a Fed Tour. There's even the new Pulse, kind of in that range.
There was some chatter in last night because Lauren was throwing the Pulse. There was some chatter in the chat room last night.
So it really depends on your style. But just remember, it is 43 feet, and there's enough shape, but you still got to get that ball to pick up. So, I mean, obviously Ion Pro Solid is going to be used by most of the Storm guys. So, and there's always new balls coming out. So but I would say any mid-performance solid kind of stronger pearl symmetrical ball like Zen 25. We have a gold Raptor from Motive, and GB5 Pearl from Brunswick. I would say some of those different types of balls, but it's all style specific.
Anderson for at least 15 in a row. But there's just that one was a little left out of his hand. I kind of went like, is that actually going to hold?
I think at some point when you get far enough left, I don't really think it matters when you make the flip.
Yeah.
And he's throwing it really good, and just when you match up that good, I don't really think it matters. Yeah. His ball is reading it the right way. I also think it helps when you bowl 800 the first 3, and now you're kind of like, all right, I just bowled 300, I'm making the flip. And he likes it. If he likes this end more than the high end, and he bowled really good up there. So to me, that was a sick messenger in front of the tent there.
John, I thought I answered you last night. Next Sunday for Liz Johnson, the noon Eastern 11 a.m. squad. So Mary's got a question. Why do a lot of bowlers keep swinging their arm after they've released the ball? It seems like a lot of excess movement to me.
Yeah, some of it is just like the motion. Some of it is just natural. Some bowlers don't even realize it, that they're doing it. It's just kind of maybe a natural tendency. Sometimes because that weight of the ball is so heavy behind you that it's your arms, just keeps going. It's like a pendulum. It just swings, But some bowlers don't even realize they do it. Other bowlers do it because they guide the ball down the lane. But I wouldn't say there's an exact answer to it. I think some of it is just natural motion.
Oh, come on, get out of there.
That's a good miss. Like, just thinking about it, you're throwing a 15-pound bowling ball at 20 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour off your hand. Your arm has to do some sort of, and it's not natural movement, so not like baseball or softball. I mean, bowling is kind of natural. Like, baseball isn't, so it's hard for when you let it go, you're not swinging your arm back and forth because you're really releasing all the energy going forward. But like softball is natural movement, so they can pitch, 300 innings and not have an issue. Like that candidate. Oh
wow,
7-9.
Jay, unfortunately, your ball will be right back. My goodness. And the old string pin question. Have you bowled on string pins yet?
Yes, our center has string pins. It was a novelty idea that we decided to do before they became gigantic.
Yeah.
It's the first run of the string pins that Brunswick made in 21, or late 21, early 22. So, yes, I have bowled on them before. It makes my ball look like it's about 4 pounds. Do I think it levels the playing field? I don't think so, actually.
No.
Do I think there's a chance that – I think the string pins are all about entry angle. Because they're on a string and they don't deflect as much, that string has the tension to where it kind of stop them from doing things. To me, the light hits on the 10s and the 7s are less, where it's more high hits that go down. based on the way the strings fall. I don't have enough experience on them to say what I think is going to be better, but
Sure.
I have bowled on strings. I would prefer not to bowl on strings, but I'm not against it.
Yeah. And I fully get for especially smaller centers, rural areas, that type of thing, you know, finding a mechanic, the overall cost, the energy savings that you get. I mean, these machines here at Palermo Prospect have a giant motor that runs off of 240 three-phase power that just sucks power. And then these new, like I know the cubic AMF machines, it's basically what powers a coffee maker.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think eventually it's going to be a common thing in the entire industry to where string pins are going to come out. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Bolero decides they're going to do all strings. They may not. It definitely saves manufacturing and mechanic costs and everything. So, yeah, we shall see. But I have bowled on them. I prefer free fall, but just go with it, you know.
Yeah. There's a question about your physical game, Matt. Your swing seems to be with extended elbow for most of it, similar to a Jesper, not Chris Vi. Was that just your most comfortable way to throw due to your biomechanics, or did you take specific training to throw it that way?
Yeah, it's a good question. I never had really any coaching specifically growing up on two-handed. I really wasn't a thing when I was growing up bowling. I kind of didn't know about it until I saw Belmo doing it, you know, on television in 2009, I believe it was, when he won his first title. But I do have long arms, so it kind of was just a natural progression. And when I got to college, I worked with a guy from Argentina and kind of just kept it that way. You know, I never really thought about changing it. It's so hard when I've been doing it for so long to kind of change the way my swing is. But no, it's kind of more natural and just kind of the way my body moves and works. And it's not the most traditional thing, but I feel like that's what makes two-handed bowling so unique, is that you find the style for you. Everybody has certain mechanics they have to be successful, but as long as you can repeat getting from the approach to the foul line, to me it's however you throw it is the way you throw it. But no, for me, my arms are long, and that's just kind of the way I developed, and I'm going to stick with it. I think the less moving parts in two-handed bowling is what makes the better bowlers the best. When that swing is naturally a natural motion, and you know your hand can stay under the ball as long as possible, I think that's the benefit of two-handed. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's, I mean, just the variety of different styles in bowling eyes. Youch. Well, Anderson did say he kind of cursed himself thinking this end would be.
I mean, so here's the thing, Phil. So, like, you need 43 over in 3 games, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just say he bowls 200 this game.
Yeah. Now
Now you need 220 with 2 to go. I want him to take over the lead. Like, I mean, it's phenomenal.
Right.
You're bowling 300, 800. You know, I think he's going to bowl let's see, if he doesn't spare it, he can bowl 240. I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely possible, but it's so hard. Like, that's what I think sometimes people don't realize is, like, you see a score out that might spare it. You see a score out there and he's more than halfway there, and you're like, oh, it's definitely doable. But if he doesn't strike in any of the next frames, he's only going to bowl 200.
Yep.
So we shall see. But this is what makes it interesting, right? Like, this is what you watch bowling for.
As Randy Pearson said during the PBA LBC Clash last year, every shot in bowling makes somebody happy.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the person that's throwing it. Let's see. Best advice you can give to a beginner who is just learning how to try to hook the ball.
Yeah, I would say try and keep your hand behind the ball. I think a lot of people think hook is determined by how much you rotate the ball. That sometimes makes the ball not hook at all because it's spinning too much. I would say you want to do it with keeping your hand more up the back of it and letting the ball actually do the motion versus your hand doing it as a beginner. Then once you kind of learn getting your hand to go consistently up the back of the ball or kind of naturally maybe a little bit around the side of it, you kind of see that ball change direction. But it's not so much of spinning it. It's more so like think about like turning a doorknob or rotating your hand around a football underneath. That's probably the two easiest analogies to kind of create hook, but it's not spinning it. It's just getting your hand to rotate around the side of it. And it's tough because you're like, oh, well, that's like spinning it. Well, it's when you watch it, it's not. Like if you're watching the feed and you're watching Andrew right now, he's rotating his hand around the side of it. He's just delaying the hook and making it kind of hook more down the lane to whereas where you generate hook is when your ball starts to turn over and it sees the friction, it actually changes direction. So a lot of that has to do with ball roll and the way your hand comes out of it. So some guys get their hand around it too much and it doesn't hook at all, and that's why it hooks so much down the lane. So I would say that the best way is go ahead and work on release consistency, get that hand kind of going naturally up the bat a little bit around the side as more of like turning the doorknob kind of a motion. Always thumb out first, fingers last.
There you go. Have you ever seen any devices that people can do drills with to try to?
Yeah, there is a device that like it used to be called Bowling Buddy or Eileen's Bowling Buddies, or they have a training tool for that. It's like a probably a 8x11 board with like a track.
Oh, the rectangle.
Yeah,
with
and you put the ball on it.
Yeah, with the ball bearings on it.
Yeah, so that teaches kind of like release and kind of rotation and stuff like that. So that is the, I would say, expensive way to learn how to do it. The other way I would say is just kind of do drills or watch kind of how people get their hand around it. But just understand hook is generated by friction and bowling balls and the change of direction and less spin. There's always a time to spin it, but spin can make the ball go too long and then you either don't have hook at all or it just is too sideways. So
Andrew Anderson already on top of the ball return with that ring 10.
That was really good. That one was really good.
He's had 4 that I can count of those. I mean, you just watch that 6-pin, you think as fast as it's moving, there'd be like a vortex behind it to just suck the 10 into the pit after. You can't get it that close to the 10-pin without knocking it over. One would think.
If every ball struck that hit the pocket, we would have 1,300,000.
So Ken's asking in the chat, he's using a Game Breaker 2 right now, so he said he's using the term beginner ball, and feel free to be brand specific on this one. What kind of a ball should he get as he says a one-handed player that would be like an intermediate piece of equipment? So I guess his intermediate could kind of be a benchmark for a lot of players, I would think.
Yeah, so he's got a Game Breaker 2, which we consider on the pro level a benchmark ball. It's a smoother, symmetrical piece, kind of versatile across the lane. It's going to come down to how much hook or how much snap, I would say, or how much motion down the lane he is looking for. Like if you look at, like from Motive, we have the Venom Shock. That's our benchmark symmetrical ball. It's weaker than a GB2. It's a little bit, I would say, sharper because it's cleaner, so it doesn't hook as early. There's a lot of it is style specific. So if he throws a little bit harder, I would say he would need a stronger ball than the GB2, like an asymmetrical ball. If you're talking from Storm, maybe like Ion Pro Solid. That Ion Pro Solid would be similar because it's that type of smoothness reaction, but like Ion Mats or the Hyperdrive. From Brunswick, you've got the new Infinity Quest, or you've got a Mesmerize, or let's see, you've got a Criterion from Trad. Any of the big ASIMs, there's the 3D Assault. From us, we've got the Prides. Those are our kind of benchmark asymmetrical bowling balls. If you want to go stronger than that, you can with the Evotes or the Jackals even. So it's really going to determine how much hook potential he's looking for and kind of speed and everything like that. So if I had more information, I definitely would be able to help out more. But I would say a step up from what he's looking for would be an asymmetrical ball little bit stronger, some more motion to it, would definitely give him a different look on the lane.
Yeah, and there's some good online resources, and always your pro shop guy.
Yeah, I would say talk to
your
your pro shop operator. You know, I would say what gets bowlers there more often than not is matching up with the bowling ball. Your style matches the ball and the layout for how you throw it. You know, so I would say in terms of just ball technology, something stronger than a GB2 would be an asymmetrical solid bowling ball with just more hook potential.
So let's get back here. Keaton Beery, bowling up class division, looking for the front 9.
Yeah, he throws it good.
Oh, for the head pin coming back across that hard.
The 5, yeah.
And the 5 just goes.
Paralyzing the 5.
I'm going to fall over for you this time. So we'll get an extra eye on Keaton Beery momentarily.
So I think Andrew has to have the first one in the 10th here. To me, like 205 is okay. Obviously, you know, you only need 20 more, 30 more, 40 more, really. 225 is a hell of a lot easier.
Yep.
That's
much better.
Decent.
Oh.
Get it?
No.
That was a pretty good shot. To me, looking at another ball here on the field is very smart, which knowing Andrew, he probably will do. But on the other side of it, so you just bowled 825, you've hit the pocket every shot this game, and you bowled 2-0. So, like, to me, maybe not ball change, but I think he's at a point where those flat 10s could strike with maybe a quicker bowling ball. And for him, it could be a tension star, maybe a DNA coil. I know he likes that one a lot too. It could be another Ion Pro Solid, a little bit weaker, maybe a Zen 25. He's going to the bag here. Let's see what he gets.
You know what's funny looking at the scoreboard, and Dombrowski had the same thing last night when he was on 17 and 18.
That's a high road 40, I believe. So
yeah. Look at the scoreboard. Look at all the left lane frames, the odd frames. Strike, 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 strike. Left lane after the second frame, or the right lane after the second frame. Strike, spare, open, spare, spare.
I had a game. There were 3 pairs down here where I could strike on the one lane, but I couldn't strike on the other lane. I wouldn't be surprised if this field ball strikes. So because usually every field ball strikes, but
oh, need the 70-foot lane on that one.
So that's where I'm like. That's where I mentioned like it's so easy to miss the head pin. Like you go to you're throwing a asymmetrical stronger ball, and then you try and throw something cleaner because it's burning. The big ball is burning up, and then you think it's good and it doesn't hook. So this next game will be interesting to see if he throws that. Yeah. He's probably going to throw the Ion Pro Solid, I imagine, but I wouldn't be surprised if he throws the high road 40 eventually. But so, still on pace.
Yeah, and he's moving next door to 5 and 6, so he's had a good idea to watch how those players are playing in the lane. So just a small move for everybody this game. Just immediately to the pair of the right. We're going to take a little audio intermission here as players move. Everybody's kind of getting bunched up here. So we've got game 4 underway. We'll have Matt Russo through the block here. And if you have more questions for Matt, please drop them in the chat. We're more than happy to ask them of him. And we'll
feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, that too.
At the Russo's Bowling on YouTube, or go ahead and like my fan page, Matthew Russo, on Facebook, and come see us at Junior Gold. We are doing a giveaway on our YouTube channel eventually, but you do have to be subscribed to our channel, and we do have to hit 1,000. We are almost there, so we appreciate all the love.
Well, I'm going to hit that during the break here. Game 5 coming up next. All right, we're back. We're going to get through the rest of game 4 here with Chris Prather. We'll get down to Andrew Anderson shortly as Anderson trying to take down the PBA exempt division lead. In the booth with Matt Russo. There you see the Russo's Bowling on YouTube. Please subscribe. Let's get them over 1,000 on this squad. They're at 941 right now after I finally got smart. Hit the subscribe button.
We are relatively, yeah, we just started. I got done with the tour season, and I told Lauren, I said, I really think it would be cool to start a YouTube channel. I'm big into graphics and video production. I've always had a love for it, and I think it's cool to showcase kind of. There's so much out there with the house and Darren and Brad and Kyle, and obviously, every channel's a little bit different. Not trying to be like them. I just want to showcase kind of our life story and kind of how the women do it out there, and bring a different look to being with Motive and the left side of the lane. So appreciate everybody who subscribes and kind of views our videos. We get some good stuff in the works. Trying to put out as much content as we can. There will be an LBC video dropping about some of our blog highlights and things like that. So we're still new to it, but we greatly enjoy it, and appreciate everybody who subscribes and views our channel.
Let's get back down and check out Andrew Anderson. Started with a 10-pin spare for his first frame. If you have any questions for Matt, drop them in the chat on YouTube. I'm going to check the Facebook chat as well, as we're on the PBA LBC page on Facebook for our main stream. Of course, all of our pair streams on the PBA YouTube channel. Robin Morrison, good to see you back on from South. We've had people from all over the world watching these LBC feeds, and Robin's one of our most dedicated viewers. I know Robin enjoys watching all the PBA exempt players.
Where from?
That are out there. South Africa.
That's over. It's got to be morning time there, right? Morning time?
No, it's got to be probably, they got to be six hours ahead of us.
Oh, only sits. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
it's not
dinner. Yeah, past dinner time. Nothing wrong with that.
Not like Japan, where it'd be you got to figure out what time tomorrow it is in the morning already.
Yeah, that was Andrew did make a ball change right there, so that might have been Ion Pro. It was a little bit darker. It didn't look super shiny, but we're gonna see here when. Yeah, that's Ion Pro. So he went from Ion Pro Solid to an Ion Pro, so a little bit cleaner, a little bit smoother ball. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep. So Anderson needs 439 for 2 games to pass Patrick Dombrowski from last night. He's not thinking of an actual particular game score or anything like that. He's just probably out there going, let's get another 11 in a row here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously with being close, bowling 200 the last game, I think, to me, this is the telling game here. They're transitioning a little bit, made 2 good shots, and they hit the pocket. They weren't convincing strikes. The first one left to 7, and then the next one kind of ripped the rat. So let's see here. The next couple frames are going to be telling to see. 439 is still a lot. And we say that like they're bowling on the hardest pattern in the world, but just think about it. It's a lot of score, and sometimes on the easier patterns it comes down to pin carry, not even about shot making. That one should have hit a lot. Yeah, that was a good shot. Yeah, that one was slower and still to the right, and that one came off a bit nice. So all signs leading to it. He's gonna take over the lead, but we'll see.
Do you do specific drills for speed control?
Specific drills? I wouldn't say there's drills. There's obviously ways to track it with Specto and other softwares out there. It's hard to look at the monitor because the monitors, the speed on the monitors is not tracked off your hand. It's actually tracked down the lane, and those sensors pick up bowling ball colors differently, to whereas Specto is really going to be the truest speed you can probably find out there. So I would say the only way I would say for drills is just consistency of your approach. If your approach is consistent and your timing is consistent, that's probably the best way to keep your speed under control. I think because the bowling ball dynamics are getting bigger and better and faster, stronger, I think the speed control maybe it can be less at times because of the balls. But what makes people better than others is, obviously accuracy and speed control, kind of trump everything else. So,
best ball you've ever used for making spares, asked by Dave Johnson.
Best ball I've ever used making spares, whatever plastic ball hits the pin. That's going to be, I think everybody out there should have a plastic ball or some sort of ball that goes straight. Guys throw urethane, but I still feel like plastic, no matter what, is the way to go, especially if you have a higher rev rate or you don't throw it as hard. Urethane is hard at spares because sometimes it hooks early and sometimes it doesn't. So I would say plastic. Yeah, any plastic ball.
once again, with Matt Russo joining us in the booth. There you see the Russo's Bowling on YouTube. We got you up to 945. They are subscribing. Let's get into 1,000 by the end of the day today. Yeah, please do. So the Russo's Bowling on YouTube. And let's get into 1,000. Let's make it happen. Lobo to me asks, what adjustments do you make in centers where the ball return is much farther ahead on the approach? In his new home center, if I go far left or spare 10 pins, constantly hit my ball return with the trail leg.
Yeah, that's not as common anymore as it used to be. The ball returns used to be longer, or they used to have the above ground ball returns way back in the day.
Yeah.
I would say for shooting spares, if you're hitting the ball return with your leg, you may be a hair too far left or right. I don't necessarily think you have to be through 25 at the arrows to shoot the 10 pin. I would say maybe like 20. I mean, you see guys shooting from everywhere, but I think maybe you may have long ledge or you may be tall. But I would say maybe adjust, maybe move a little bit right or left, depending on what side you're on. But I think if you're hitting the ball return with your trail leg at the 10 pin, you probably need to move a little bit left, a little bit right. Get closer to it, and kind of use more of the lane than and less angle versus trying to just have a big angle at it. I think the big angle sometimes there's more chance to miss the spare. Just having more of a natural angle. I mean, EJ shoots his 10 pins pretty far left, and he's an anomaly.
Yeah.
Like, it's all what's comfortable, but I think if you're hitting the ball return, you probably need to move a little bit right.
I think there's some irony, as you said, ball returns over the top back in the day and that kind of thing. Some of the irony nowadays is, Norm Duke, when he was in the booth week 1, announcing that they're releasing a spare ball, the Norm Duke spare ball, soon.
That's going to be cool.
Yeah,
that's
but
going to be cool.
I'm like, Norm, if you were still on tour, you would not be using your own bowling ball.
It's cool, yeah, because Norm shoots spares with react. So maybe it's going to be reactive ball, and they're just going to call it the Norm.
No, it's the clear.
Ball.
It's the clear shell,
okay.
and it's got the Duke trophy.
Wow, really?
Like the outline of a Duke trophy inside of it and stuff. I can't wait for it. I don't bowl much anymore. I'm probably going to get that just for a display piece. Get him to sign the shell, and
That's pretty cool, actually. It'd be cool to see.
Good display piece. Wow, and the paralyzed 5.
That's a 5-7 right there. Unfortunate. That's 2 bad breaks for John in a couple games.
Yeah, same for Jay, too. We saw Jay smash 7-9 lane main event. And so these 2 guys are taking Andrew Anderson's bad breaks away from him. So that's true teammates right there. Well, you're getting 10% for being in the booth.
I better.
Andrew wins.
Yeah, every time I commentate, Andrew bowls good or he wins.
So if you get more questions here from Matt, please throw them in there. Annette Griffin, she has a vested interest in this question. She's asking what's going on for the guys in the open scratch division this weekend. I could be mean and say 4 people passed her son in the top of the open class division, but I'm not going to obviously say that because that's not true.
If you're still watching, I think your son's score is untouchable.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I mean, you never know. Really, I would say I don't know anybody else who's bowling that's like well known.
Yeah.
In the open scratch division, I know Brad Miller's in there.
Right.
Maybe Brad Miller,
there was one 1400 so far this weekend by Kobe Franklin. That's one that could have been a bit more. Some of the vicious wrap 10s we're seeing for Anderson. Yeah. Kobe had a few of those yesterday. He had one stretch where he was basically he couldn't catch the right lane on a couple of pairs. He went Dutch 200 on one pair and then went immediately next door and almost went Dutch 200 again. Just could not keep catching the right lanes. Was struggling. Let's see if I can scan here with the last couple of weekends. Maybe we can get some names of some pretty good either regional players or tour guys.
Landon Jordan bowling.
Landon Boulderay did not do well.
The
Jordans didn't do well. Let's see. David O'Sullivan out of Florida. O'Sullivan's a solid player. He's yet to get here. Brad Miller as well.
Yeah, Gene Perez didn't bowl last night.
Yeah.
I know that.
Who else? Yeah, there's not a lot of
the
names
one
I
tough thing though,
recognize.
like you may say, like, yeah, this person is talented and can bowl well, and then they, just don't match up. So, I like I said, I think your son's score is untouchable.
Yeah.
He's, what do you have, 300 and something over, 337?
Right.
I think that's plenty.
Yeah, Jerry Mars from here in the Chicagoland area, solid player, regional player.
Yeah.
Kyle Crow won USBC doubles a couple years back. Justin Bone, obviously, Justin, solid player as well. Yeah, that's really, and Brad Miller, that's the 4 big names I recognize. I apologize if some other ones I may have missed here with Chad Kloss out of the Milwaukee area, former tour player. But he's Chad's almost a senior player now, so. But yeah, there's yeah, I wouldn't take a loan out against the $25,000 that's on its way, but
yeah, I mean obviously anything can happen from anybody, right? Anybody can come in and bowl well, but yeah. I would say I think your son scores safe. I mean Andrew can get there, but I think he'll beat all the pros too. So if he had 300 and something over, I think it's plenty. He's gonna get the bowl for the Clash as well. So, but hey, I will say, on the other side of it, Brad Miller led USBCs last year all the way until the final day. So
yeah,
who knows? But all positivity and all good energy to your son, and hopefully he stays on top.
That's just an amazing stat, because that would mean in the 3 years of this PBA LBC National Championships, 2 youth players who moved up to the open class division will have won titles.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a youth division.
A youth scratch instead?
Yeah, a youth scratch.
Yeah. So, Annette says that her and Weston met you in Smyrna, Tennessee, when your wife bowled the PWBA event. You gave Weston 2 bowling balls. Both of you are spectacular.
I called your when you field ball. I said Andrew's going to strike here, and then you missed a head pin, and I was like, well, that's not it.
But he's got, I mean, as I said yesterday, watching Kobe Franklin, watching so many players get to a pair that all of a sudden what bit Andrew last game, and these players would shoot 2-0 or less with a troublesome lane. And, Andrew kept it clean, got that early double, and still got, the 2-T or 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think pair to pair, obviously Andrew's bowled really good, and I think he threw it just as good on 3 and 4 as he did on 31 and 2, and he bowled 100 less. So, that's just how different they are pair to pair. That's what makes this tournament hard. I'd be interested to see what pairs the gentleman who's leading. I'm sorry, Toby? Is it Toby leading the? Oh
no, Weston.
Weston. I'm sorry, yeah. Weston. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what pairs Weston bowled on.
I know he was on 5 and 6. I know he was on 9 and 10 because that's where he shot his 300s, and then I believe he moved to 17 and 18. Hey Annette, since you're still in the chat, do you have Weston's score sheet? Can you tell us what pairs he bowled on? We're kind of curious on that.
To see, sometimes the trend is if you're bowling on pairs sequentially where you're seeing them one right after another. Like he bowled 300 twice.
Yeah.
So would it be where he bowled 300 on back-to-back pairs where they just moved one?
Yeah. No, it was 5 and 6 and 9 and 10 where he threw the 300s.
Yeah, and 7-8 was in play. So, but it's still close enough.
Yeah.
It could just be a trend. It could be just matching you up in certain parts of the building. But
I just find it interesting that, I mean, up until this weekend, there were 5 300s so far, and 3 of them were on 5 and 6. I mean, that was a bit of an anomaly.
I mean, and that could be everybody who hits that pair. Just Lauren had the front sits on 5 and 6, so that just could be a really good pair. So I'm just curious to see kind of what pairs he bowled on. And
so I know he started. I went back. I know he started on 31 and 32 now when I look back at it, because that's where he had 233.
It's a good pair. So he bowled 233, 300, 300.
Yeah.
So he made the flip.
Yep.
And he bowled on a hooking pair, which good. And then he came down here and bowled 300, 300. So, I mean, could be that the low end of the house on the right is way better, and the high end of the house on the left could be better. That's just fantastic bowling no matter what.
Right.
Like, regardless of pairs, pattern, like that's a hell of a lot of score for 6 games.
And he wasn't going to bowl. He told Mom he wanted the night off, and Annette said, "I paid for this entry, young man.
Well, if it just made you 25 G's, you can send that money to somebody else. I mean, I'm sure LBC would send it off.
The Russo's channel on YouTube.
Put it into our
could use
channel.
it. Right.
Yeah, you can donate to our channel.
Oh, man. Yeah. So feel free to keep throwing questions at Matt here, because we can't keep watching Andrew Anderson just keep throwing strikes. It gets a little redundant. Yeah. I think it gets redundant. especially when they're just, a majority of them are just flush. So.
Flush. I get tired.
All right, let's see what we got you up to now. We keep saying, everybody.
I'm going to petition Storm to tell them to remake it Ion Pro to Andrew Anderson bowling ball.
They can make the next edition, the Ion Pro AA edition.
We're up to 946.
All right.
946.
So we've gone up 5 in less than a game. Let's keep it rolling, people. So we appreciate it.
We do appreciate it.
So, hey, Weston in the chat. There we go. Good to see you, Weston.
Weston, nice bowling. Don't ever bowl me head to head. I do not want the smoke. Please. I hope you're bowling junior gold, Weston. Would love to meet you and come stop by the Motive booth at Trade Show Day. And maybe we can say congratulations that you've won.
Yeah. You know what we need to do if Chris Prather is there at junior gold as well.
Need a picture.
Yeah, I mean, get a picture with them together in the same. You guys need to coordinate jerseys. I know because the jersey Weston wore was a Chris.
Yeah.
Was a Chris Prather.
Is Prather's? Do we have him somewhere?
Yeah, Prather. I think he's up on 23 and 24 right now. Yeah, there we go. So a little different jersey than what Weston wore that day, but still.
Prather got 884, I think that says.
Yes, you'd be correct.
884.
Coming off a 220 game next door on 19 and 20. So, oh, here we go from James. Matt, what's your typical strategy to line up in a house pattern, and how do you tackle the transition on house patterns?
You're asking the wrong guy here. No, I mean, I would say typical. Generally, a lot of the house patterns play in the track area. I do know some house patterns that don't play in the track, but I think some of the house patterns play the track area. So you want to be a little bit left of the friction to where you have hook to the right and oil to the left to where there's some hold. And generally a lot of the house patterns are so much high in ratio where there's hold no matter what. And you kind of want to use a smooth enough ball that blends out the wet dry is what we call it, so where the dry is dry and the oil has a bunch of it, and you kind of want to get a ball that smooths it out. To me, I kind of pitch a ball that isn't super strong but not super weak, and kind of go ahead and play my strengths and just throw it against the friction and try and use the hold to carry the 7 or the 10. Don't think too much into it. They can get tricky depending on where you bowl at, but go ahead and make sure you have oil to the left and friction to the right if you're right-handed, and then opposite if you're left-handed. I bowl a lead on the wood, so yeah, it's one of the last standing wood centers in Missouri. We have a good time. They are almost impossible every time, but I did almost break the house record there, so it was it depends. But Andrew officially has taken over the lead here with 1 to go.
Yeah. Just needs to stay above 200.
Yeah, he's going to have 1081, so he needs 187.
Yeah.
I think, which is going to be plenty. So we could be looking at a new leader.
Right. And once again, don't put it past somebody else getting by with the lineup that remains.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
PBA exempt division.
I feel like I bowled, I'm 170 over, and I feel like I bowled good. And I'm watching Andrew bowl 1070, and
So Anderson's going to go up to 13 and 14 for his final game. So we'll get coverage there. They got a few frames to go on that pair, 13 and 14. Yeah, so he'll only have about a 5 or 6 minute wait on that pair. But let's get back to Prather and company, along with the Kindigs right next door. Riley Smith, boy, it's one of those guys that had a great college career at McKendree. Was a teammate of A.J. Johnson.
Won a national championship.
Made the big clutch strike to get the national championship. I've known him since he was in high school. He used to bowl our television tournaments in Wisconsin we had for youth players, and great family he comes from. And just one of those guys nowadays where it's just like, hey, he's got a great job with Uline, and he's traveling a lot. And he goes, I haven't thrown in a few days. Phenomenal golfer, too. I would not golf that man for anything. It'd be like he and EJ Tackett in a scramble.
Ronnie Russell.
Yeah, there you go. You just pair yourself with,
Marshall.
Yeah. Oh, Marshall too. Yeah, that's right. So
Andrew can whack it.
Okay. So I know what players I know. I
can tell you. Yeah, I know the guys who whack it.
Yeah. I'll be doing the Linus Open before Coldwater after Minster before Coldwater, because they moved it to the Monday after Minster now.
Yeah, I actually went to school. I have 2 of my roommates in college. They own a golf simulator bar in Ohio.
Okay.
Though they are fantastic golfers. They decided to go to college for bowling, and we won in 19. But yeah, they own a sports social in Sandusky, Ohio, right on the water, and it's a golf simulator social. Pretty cool, pretty neat place. They're big into golf, so yeah, if you're in the area around there, go ahead and check that out. Anybody who lives around there.
Somebody in the chat asked, a Trend 2, they bought it from a pro shop a couple weeks ago. You can't use it in national USBC tournaments. Is it also prohibited in the LBC Championships?
I believe.
I need to check the. There's an
yeah.
actual list on the PBA LBC site. I think it's under the rules tab. Yeah, certified equipment. And you can actually go and view the list of certified bowling ball. They actually have a search feature. So if I go right now, that's a Storm ball, isn't it?
It is Storm, yep.
So if I go to Storm and if I go Trend.
It is a PBA approved ball, but they don't follow the same rules.
Yeah.
But
so I would think it would be, yeah, Trend 2 and Trend SE all approved.
Yeah, I think it's just generally USBC approved bowling balls aside from the urethane.
Yeah. And that was just a polish issue, wasn't it? It wasn't actually dynamics of the balls.
Yeah, it was a cover issue.
Yeah.
There are some dynamics balls that you can't use, and those are USBC illegal.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be allowed. But yeah, as far as we know, the only balls on that list that aren't allowed are Purple Hammers, and you probably can actually search it.
Yeah, the 16 and 17 hammers are the ones
but
that are out.
I think urethane is only 78D, which made sense. I haven't seen anybody else throw anything different.
Yeah.
So.
I think most people just hear PBA, and I think they're just not.
Yeah, and that's why. And it's probably smart to not. No, actually, you know what? I did see a gentleman throw a Purple Hammer, so maybe you can. Actually, there is a lefty bowling today.
Let's see on here.
Yeah, is it there?
I put purple. There's
yeah. You'd probably
black
you
with
can
a
throw
purple.
it. Yeah, it's right
yeah,
there.
Yeah, Purple Hammer. As long as it's not the
16 or 17, so you can throw it. Yeah. Interesting.
So there it is.
Well, good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't throw urethane on this pattern, but some guys would, so maybe that's why. But
oh, here's a question from our Open Classic Division leader. Weston asks, what does a typical practice session look like for Matt Russo?
Yeah, it's a good question, actually. You know, I practice for probably about an hour or maybe a little bit more than an hour. Some days I practice for 2 hours. It really depends on what I'm trying to get done. Normal practice is I'll go ahead and bowl on a pattern I'm either going to bowl on coming up or something I'm trying to figure out with bowling ball selection, or just kind of work on, I've been working a lot on my ball roll recently, and just kind of I changed my fit. So I've been working on some ball roll, just working on consistency of speed and just kind of understanding balls from the Motive brand a little bit more. But yeah, generally it's definitely a practice of getting something done. Shoot some spares during the practice, but a lot of it is I've just been working on release. So I'll go ahead and go in and put a pattern out. I'll bowl on some different lengths. A lot of it's been 39 and more. I don't like to practice on the super short stuff because I don't like to throw thane in practice. I think that actually hurts me as a player. I think throwing the urethane ball so much it develops bad tendencies. So I just been really working on my release consistency, some timing, and just kind of getting back into seeing some of the shapes I'm looking for with the bowling balls. Yeah, so it's generally about an hour and 15 minutes. Like I said, sometimes more, but they're very practices dedicated on certain things. Right now, I've just been filming some videos. Going in. Just about every other day. My wife's been coming to practice with me. We're getting her ready for tour and stuff. But yeah, we go in and don't throw the same balls all the time. It's different balls, trying to see different shapes, different parts of the lane, working on versatility. So it's just all the general things I feel like I can just always get better at it and get to know more. So, yeah, that's nothing too complicated.
And here's a really interesting question. Lobo, to me, is a two-handed lefty, did pretty well with purple hammers. Now he's running into tournaments where it's either no urethane or 78D urethanes. What would be a recommendation for players, for equipment where that doesn't come into play, they can't fall back on the purple hammer?
Yeah, some of it is, different types of layouts. You can go ahead and drill some stronger pin balls closer to your axis, which will be kind of like urethane light shapes where they go ahead and read the lane super early and kind of very rolly when it sees the friction. So the angle would be shut down more like throwing the urethane ball. The bad part of the game today is the urethane ball has gotten so dominant to where you can hook the ball so much more with the urethane, where they hook a lot down the lane, like the purple hammer or the black. Even that IQ 78 kind of hooks a little bit down the lane. So I would recommend kind of big, strong, asymmetrical balls, shorter pin layouts, closer to your axis or, on your axis. There are also some balls out there nowadays that are urethane light. Us from Motive have we call them MCP balls, so they're microcell polymer. So they're not straight urethane. So they're not actually in that rule of 78. You can throw them. They are come out at the hardness level of what is spec by USBC and the PBA. So we got some tanks out there that are MCP balls that are similar in motion. I do know that Brunswick has that torpedo ball, I think it's called. It's very different than urethane, but it's probably pretty close. But I would say you're going to want to go ahead and drill some strong balls with shorter pin layouts. And that's really probably going to be your closest to urethane light reaction. But don't expect it to be the same. It's going to be very different. It's not going to be the same motion. It's just hard because the reactive balls are so much stronger when it sees the friction to where the urethane balls read the front more consistently than the reactive balls, because the reactive balls are designed to get through the front, right? The urethane balls hook the earliest.
Okay. Where
most people think when the lanes burn up, I'm just going to go to my urethane ball because it doesn't hook as much. Well, it does. It just hooks in a different part of the lane. So urethane hooks the earliest. So to try and get a reactive ball to hook that early, you have to do with surface, ball roll, and layout. And sometimes that could be too early. So I would say, almost made the 2-8-10 there. Yeah, go ahead and drill some strong asymmetrical balls, pins closer to your axis, or go ahead and find some balls that are urethane light. That would be similar.
Marcio in the chat says he's an old bowler straight from Rio, so he's from Brazil. Watching today, Matt reminds him of a two-handed Earl Anthony.
Thank you for that compliment. That actually means a lot. I appreciate that. I have seen videos of Earl. Very simple game, very straight swing, and not a lot of moving parts. I always been told from people in the industry that I don't have a lot of moving parts, and I kind of pride myself on that. And there's all those haters out there with two-handed game silly, and all those comments that people make, and it only helps the views. So everybody's like, all these people talk a lot of trash. It's like, yeah, it's great, but you're the one clicking on the video. We're getting views out of it. And that's kind of what they're up there for. But I appreciate that compliment. That means a lot. My first ever Team USA event was in Rio, actually, where I won 5 gold medals. So that was back in 2018, which is really cool to be in Rio. And, in Brazil, it was one of my favorite places.
Who was the coach of the team that year for you while you were down there?
In Brazil, Rod Ross.
Rod Ross, okay,
yeah. And I went and I bowled with Kelly Kulick, Danielle McEwen, and Matt Farber. And it was just a singles and doubles event. I went ahead and won singles. We won doubles. I won the Masters. I won all events. It was sweet. It was really cool.
Great week to hear the national anthem 5 times.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Here we go, and we kind of touched on it earlier. We were talking about Dio Bernardo. Somebody's asking again, are you thinking about adding a backup ball to the toolbox?
Nope, absolutely not. Not even in my practice regimen. No, just not something I've been the type of person that I want to figure it out. Not saying that those people don't, But to me, like, I don't learn anything from throwing a patch up.
Right.
Like, if I'm not bowling well, like, there's got to be a reason, and how can I figure it out? And that's why I think, like, I left Brunswick to come to Motive. Very happy there. The balls are very different, but I feel like it's making me a better player because I'm actually learning, like, figuring out different ways to revamp my game. And I'm not relying on the urethane ball every week, so it's just different.
Marcio just followed up in the chat after the Earl Anthony comment with, "Oh yeah, he was coaching Brazil that week that you did all that damage to the team down there." So, so thanks Marcio for dropping in on the chat. Appreciate that. And I saw it. Now I'm blanking out on the gentleman's name. There's a PBA 50 player that was bowling in Hammond this past week from Brazil, and I can't remember.
I wish I could help you.
I
watched the PBA 50 tour,
yeah.
but I don't.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and look at the standings in the PBA 50 event this week because I know once I see it, that name's just gonna jump out at me. So always good to see more and more international bowlers.
Yeah, Mario Quintero.
Yeah,
first one that comes to my mind.
Peter Knapp from Germany has been coming over for a bunch of years. And let me look at the roster here. South Shore. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. Jared Dartora. I hope I'm pronouncing Jair's first name right, but Dartora. He was from Brazil. He was talking to Mario a lot, which I thought was pretty interesting considering
two different countries.
Dartora would be talking Portuguese and Mario would be talking Spanish, but I guess there's probably enough similarities to get through that particular barrier.
Food there in Brazil, I will say, is phenomenal. Obviously, Brazilian steakhouse, it's hard to go wrong there.
Yeah.
The craziest thing I ate over there was called a chicken heart. It looks like a mushroom. We went to a Brazilian steakhouse, and they kind of just brought it to the table and said, you should have this, and I ate it, and I didn't know what it was until after. But it was very good.
Here's an interesting question. One-handed standard three-finger grip. People asking if he actually uses his thumb because the way he holds it and throws. I'm just wondering if he's spinning it too much or something with that because he's asking what are the steps or how would I learn to throw with that yo-yo type release that a lot of guys, like the EJ Tacker release where it's just the arm bend comes down and it straightens out on the bottom when the wrist flips back.
Yeah, that's so hard to teach. Yeah, sometimes it's just natural. You can only increase your rev rate so much. Sometimes it's just natural motion. It's the way that EJ uses his body and kind of momentum. It's hard to teach. I will say. I mean, everybody wants to get their rev rate higher, but if you don't do it the right way, sometimes people increase their rev rate by rotating their hand around it, and that just increases your axis rotation and not necessarily your rev rate. So it all depends.
Sorry I went back to you there, Chris. I apologize. Saw you were on the 5-bagger.
The difference between Chris's score and Andrew's score right now is that hit right there. Like, Andrew's gotten a couple up the lane that have not gone high, and Chris's have gotten sits every time. So that's really the difference for the guys that are bowling well in the exempt field versus the guys who aren't. I would say that's really the only, you
get one break in a string where you carry the strike versus an open frame, and it's 30-plus pins. Add that times
even like
6.
Make that 6 count a 9 count, and it would be like a 4-pin.
Yeah.
It changes a lot. So
right.
It changes the mindset. It changes the move on the lane as well. So, because to me, like if you get sits through the middle, your move is bigger than if you leave just a 4-pin. To where if you go like last time, I got sits through the middle and then I moved 2 and my ball didn't hook, and I was like, well, this is not it. So it just, it just all depends.
All right. For my friends that keep sending me this pattern, you can stop now. I don't know if you've seen the I Hate Lefties patterns on social media.
I have not.
As a fellow lefty.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a 42-foot pattern. There's basically no oil past 12 feet on the left side of the lane.
The good thing, the interesting would be is I want to see all the righties bowl on it and have to play 15, and then they have nowhere to go.
What'd be funny is that if you actually reverse that pattern and then like made a pair of lanes that way. So
yeah,
everybody had one on one lane and one on the other. Does he? Okay.
Looks like we just got a update from our tournament director. Neil is telling us that there is a chance at the lead of the Senior Classic division. So we're going to tune in here. This is exciting, Phil.
All right. Yeah, we just got the news from Tournament Director Neil Stremmel that Stephen Crywey, and we'll get over to Stephen in just a second.
What a name. See, I'm glad you pronounced that one. I just said Stephen. I didn't even try that one.
He's actually, I've seen him at some events on the PBA 50 Tour. He actually bowled this past week in Hammond.
Okay.
And so I've seen his name out there a few times. I've seen him at some regional PBA 50 regional events as well that I've covered. And we'll get an eye on him because, yeah, he just popped a couple of big games, came out of nowhere, and he's at plus 221 after 5. Chris Barnes at plus 238. So we have a solid chance.
221 after 5. He needs 218 to take over the lead.
Yeah.
There could be 2 lead changes in one squad. Well, I mean, Andrew's going to take over the lead, so I don't.
Well, Andrew would have to.
Question.
Yeah, Andrew would have to tie his shoelaces together and
he would just not. He would just have to not bowl. I mean, there's
throw left-handed. Well, then again, even throwing left-handed, knowing him, he'd probably still be able to get halfway there.
Yeah.
Something tells me he's not a he's not
right, so
a one.
Steven started with a double.
Yeah.
And he needs 218.
Yep.
I've never seen him bowl before, but I got to imagine he knows what he's doing.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, he bowled in Hammond.
He's got a sweet jersey on. I Am Bowling. I'm sponsored by I Am Bowling. Go ahead and go to iambowling.com if you like that jersey. You can look just like Steven out there. Trying to see what ball he's throwing. It looks like he's throwing a shiny ball. I don't know if it's symmetrical, asymmetrical, but we're going to try and find out here and see what's happening. Oh, those are pretty good, too.
Yeah, definitely not afraid to get deep.
Oh, yeah. I imagine he's on staff with Hammer, so that's got to be a Brunswick. That looks like a Brunswick ball, but we might have to go find out here.
Somebody in the chat asking if Patrick Dombrowski is still in the lead for PBA Exempt. Yeah, for about 10 more minutes.
Patrick Dombrowski lost the lead in Game 5. Sorry, Patrick. Great bowling, but unfortunately, you are no longer.
Yeah. I still get. Somebody sent me. He's in a commercial for Cedar Point for the roller coasters.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He said they called him up and he got to ride the same roller coaster like 14 times while they taped the commercials.
Wow, that's pretty sweet. That's a cool opportunity.
He took Friday. He took advantage of Friday. Got here, flew in, and went up to Six Flags Great America, about 45 minutes north of here, and rode every single roller coaster in a little over 4 hours.
Jeez. I grew up next to Six Flags, so to me it's like not. It's great, but it's not what it used to be. I miss the old Six Flags commercials with the bald guy, on the bus and doing
dancing
his dance.
around.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll be bouncing around here between Crowley and Anderson, as Matt mentioned, back to back.
Well, I think eventually we won't have to watch Andrew because I think he's going to be at a point where he is. He's over it already. So, and we can see his score from here. So I think. And I mean, if Steven keeps striking, there's going to be a point where he takes it over anyways. Andrew's in the lead already. It's more so if Steven can get to the lead.
Right. Anderson's working on a 3-bagger.
Yeah, Andrew's got 280 over, and Steven's got 220 over. So.
And looking for the front 4. Very controlled with that backswing.
Yeah, that's actually the last ball I would imagine him throwing right now. It looks like that's an Ebonite Crusher, which is a big ASIM. It's super shiny. The shininess made sense. The ASIM ball made sense, just not that one. But that's got a hook. Everybody matches up different. 5 it's still okay. See, at this point, you're looking for as many pins as possible because you never know who can come in and have 300 over. Especially with some of the guys that are left to bowl.
Yeah. It's a hell of a list.
Yeah, there's still obviously some talent left to bowl, and everybody, all the pros that are bowling have plenty of talent. It's but Andrew at this point is probably looking to get to 300 and some over. Good spare.
Well, and here's the thing for Crowley and other seniors. When Liz shows up next week, I'm assuming she's bowling the women's classic division, but she could be in the senior classic division if she wanted to.
Well, I was going to ask what division. What division is she in? Is she?
Yeah, I would think it would be women's classic, just with the little smaller field and a better chance at the guaranteed $5,000 on top. I mean, there's going to be a few more chances at the pay window in the senior classic division. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what option she takes.
Is she enter both divisions?
No, you can only be in one.
All right.
So can only be in one.
So 266 over was Dombrowski. Andrews got 281, so that puts him at 180 would be 61, 185. So 185 would tie Dombrowski.
Another open here could really make life interesting for AA, and not in a good way.
Yeah, even like if he strikes spares, he still would need it because he's only can bowl 230. So he needs a couple marks here. The 5 count was just a bad one, and that's going to happen. It's going to really depend on if he thought that one was good and it didn't hook. The funny thing is about the 5 count, when we bowled the lead show last year and we won, he actually got 5 on TV. The final game. He was throwing 2 different bowling balls. They were the same ball, 2 different layouts on each lane, and he never grabbed the ball to go the other lane. So he picked up the ball, and he absolutely aced it, and it never hooked. And we were like, what just happened? And it was on the worst of the 2 lanes, and we had the front 4. Yeah. And he was like, I threw the wrong ball. So it's just, it happens. But, yeah, sometimes that 5 count can come back to haunt you.
So this is exactly – never easy in any situation, but when you're trying to chase down one of the greatest of all time, Chris Barnes.
Crowley got the front 3 and then threw 2 good shots, but I'm still surprised he's throwing this ball. But when you bowl 279, it's hard not to continue what you're doing, and you got to start with the front 3. So he's going to have to work for it a little bit, but he has to double somewhere. He's going to need a double somewhere. So we'll see what happens here.
Textbook cover on that spare. Hey, let's get the Russos over. We're still sitting at 946.
Yeah, we're running out of games here.
Yeah, open up another tab in your browser, youtube.com.
It's free.
Yeah, search for the Russos Bowling as you see right in front of you, and just take the moment, subscribe to that channel, and let's get them over 1,000 so they can get a few more people.
Yeah, we're
get that little extra push from YouTube once you hit 1,000.
Yeah, gotta get 1,000.
And then you can do live videos too once you get to it.
It levels up. It's hard to once you get to a certain. It's hard to get more. But we're like I said, we're a couple months in and we're putting out content as best as we can. So, we appreciate it.
So let's see what kind of adjustment AA makes here, if any.
Yeah, it's hard. Like he struck on that lane the last time and then he got 5. To me, the 5 was a bad shot, but. He's bowling and I'm not, so it looked like it was hard and it was long to the right, so it didn't get to the right fast enough, and it was a little bit up the lane. So that one was slower and got to the right, and that one came off of it. So to me, the one in the 6th was just a bad shot. But that one ultimately, a mark in the 9th, and he can't miss the lead. So nice rebound there from Andrew.
Just a matter who might be able to take that score off the board over the next couple of weekends in the PBA exempt division. Let's go over to Crowley again. As you mentioned, another double somewhere in here would.
Double would definitely be safe. He needs 218, so it's a good strike there, good one there. That's.
Yeah, he's from Michigan. Shot 800 in the state tournament and doubles competition earlier this year. And he had a nice showing this year at the Senior U.S. Open, at least in the opening round. Don't know how he finished, but came out of the gates after qualifying at plus 398 in 7th place behind. Yeah. So, I mean, when you got names of Pete Weber, Chris Barnes, John Janowitz, Dan Knowlton, John Ruskowski right around you, you're doing okay.
Yeah, you're doing something right there. That's it. That's the lead for Andrew. Andrew's good there. Even an open would be 190. So that's going to be enough for Andrew to take the lead, to keep the lead.
And if he strikes out, what would be he get the 300?
237. He would get to 316, 18 over.
Okay.
But yeah, that all. But to me, the only thing that's going to stop him from bowling 190 is a 4 count through the middle, which I don't see happening. So yeah, that's going to be enough. Great bowling, Andrew. Just on an incredible season. Leading USBCs, going to lead the LBC, won the Tour Finals, won another title, second in points. It's going to be
one of those years that, bar one guy, your player of the year.
Just unfortunately caught EJ at the wrong time.
I think that's been the Tour motto the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
EJ at the wrong time.
To me, it's crazy. Simo's never won Player of the Year, and he's arguably had some of the best seasons ever. So. It's just unfortunate.
Well, I mean, you look back at Pete Weber. I mean,
well, that's not
not getting the Player of the Year, but I mean, some of it was player vote, personality, that type of thing. I mean, to lose out on Player of the Year to somebody that never won a title that year is a little. It's still a record that hasn't been achieved in PBA history. When Marshall lost out to. Well, Marshall Holman took down Pete Weber for Player of the Year in the early 80s. There you go. Step it out.
That's going to be that's enough for Andrew. Andrew's got the lead for sure. That's going to get him to 300 over, so that's plenty. Let's see. What's Prather got going on? I know he's not up a lot.
But Prather, he's up on 29 and 30. Scoreboard, he just started game 6
got
with an open.
123, so
he's
going to need
not a great day there for Mr. Prather.
I mean, I will say though, in the PBA exempt field, like the scores aren't as high as I thought they would be. Obviously, Andrew's going to be 1, Dombrowski 2, and EJ 3. Troop 4 at 190. Ryan Barnes will be 5th. I don't know what Dio had last night.
He had to shoot 280 the last game to get past EJ's number, and I only think he had him like 220.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact last game.
Maybe 100. Score. He probably got to 160 or something like that.
I didn't see it updated on the
I didn't. It's updated,
side.
But I didn't see him up there, so I'm not sure what he bowled. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely yields great bowling, and it's a nice morning for Andrew.
So Anderson, 318 over.
Yep.
Just an average day at the office for AA nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if he didn't have 300 over, that would be a problem.
Not like a 253 average for your day. I mean, it's no Graham Fa 272 average, but Then again, Grant came back this year and was 250 pins less than he was.
Yeah, that's just the difference of the patterns and the years. And if Criery, if he strikes here, he's going to need any mark in the 9th and 10th, and he'll take over the lead.
Yeah, that's a great
Strike
thing.
Is going to ultimately seal it. That's a little left. Oh, and that was a little left, but that's okay.
Found the hold.
Yeah, now spare here and 240 left, and he'll just need to stay clean now. Now he needs to stay clean.
Yep.
With a strike there, he could have afforded 1 open, but with his ball reaction and the way he's thrown it, I got to imagine the 9 spare is going to be fine. Obviously you want to take over the lead, but you may want to do it more than by just 1 pin because there's still some left to go. So.
Well, I mean, even though we had a lot of the PBA 50 guys out of the way on Friday, there's still a lot more coming in that haven't bowled yet. There's some good players out there. John Verbich hasn't made it through yet. Verbich, a winner on the PBA Regional Tour, and he's come close on the PBA 50 National Tour as well.
Yeah, lefty, I think.
Yep, big, powerful lefty. So,
my man,
hey,
the leader.
Let me take that. Let me take the headset off. I'll let you guys talk it out here. Hold on one second. Nice bowling, sir.
We are here with the leader of the PBA LBC National Championships, AA, Andrew Anderson. Nice bowling, bud.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love to have a couple of those ones back, those last few games, but I'll take it. Good bowling.
Yeah, great job. I told Storm they need to rename the Ion to Andrew Anderson ball.
I do think that my goal is to strike and win enough with it that they might think about it.
Get royalties off of the Ion Pro Solid.
That ball is unbelievable. That
yeah.
I mean, it feels like every time I throw it, it just saves the day. So.
Yeah, great bowling. Tell us what you were seeing out there. Obviously, they hooked early, and you made the flip and bowled a good score. But
yeah, on the high end, my ball actually hooked earlier, and so it rounded off. So I got to throw that Iron Pro Solid, and it actually made the ball look smoother. But I came down here, it kind of could do. I had like a 4.79 on a good one that would move left, get behind it. So going to the Ion was actually not like my first choice, but you know, kind of like a safety net. And then had a great game 5 where I bowled well, but that fourth to the middle again in the second one and 10th, I was like, thank God it happened then. And then last game, I threw that one bad one, kind of stuck. I thought I threw it in the gutter, so I'm kind of happy I got.
Yeah, it looked long right. I was like, oh, that's got to hook a little bit.
Ooh, that was not my best, but yeah,
why
we'll
not
take
the
it.
high road 40? I mean, I saw you throw high road 40,
well,
and
when you throw it that bad on a shot and you snipe the 3.6, there's not a lot of confidence to make the ball change towards it.
Are you comfortable with your lead? What do you think?
No, I mean, if I left probably, I don't know, you watch me bowl. I felt like I left 40 or 50 out there, like in a couple shots here and there, but I also felt like I struck a ton. So
yeah, I mean, you bowled great. It was fun to watch. I
don't know. I never feel safe.
Yeah.
Like I'm leading the Open Championships. I'm watching every 3 hours. Hey, who's catching up? You know. So we'll just hope it's enough and then go from there. I'm happy with my bowling. I bowled the Peterson yesterday. I went 140 under. I shot at spares for 8 hours straight. And so this was quite the change.
So for anybody who wants to take over the lead at LBCs, don't bowl the Peterson the day before.
It'll feel so easy after.
Yeah. No, great ball, man.
I appreciate
super
it.
happy for you. Incredible year, and we'll see you back on TV.
Let's hope it's enough. Thanks.
Appreciate that.
By nice little interview there with AA. It's the shorts. I will take some credit. I did get him a coffee before we got here. And I told him to wear shorts. You know, I take a little bit of credit. I mean, I didn't bowl.
That's 10%. I mean, seriously.
I think it's worth more than 10%.
The moral support, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's fantastic. All right, so here's the deal here. Criery is going to need a double in the 10th to take over the lead. A double in the 10th because he only bowled 226, and you got to get to 238.
Yep.
So we need a double in the 10th to take over the lead. Which would be could be a defining moment in his career. Obviously a great bowler, but you know, we're on the PBA stage here, and yeah, it is LBC, but still, any chance you have any opportunity to take over the lead at any tournament, whether it's USBCs or it's a PBA event or it's LBC or state tournament, you know, anything. Any chance you get to take over the lead, especially needing a double.
Well, hold on. He needs 238 over for Barnes.
Yeah, so
it's
he needs a mark. Sorry, I'm marked. Yeah, I'm marking the 10th.
And he's got to have solid count.
A double would just be better.
Right, exactly. Because, as we said, 2 more weekends, some good players coming in. It's gonna be interesting here. Is that going to hold? Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, that one was.
Oh, my.
Now he needs a spare, and he's going to need a
spare. He can't do that again.
No, he's got to spare that. But that one to me was firm, and that was left, and it never got to the friction. Yeah, that one was.
I don't want to say forced out of his hand, but it didn't look
it looked hard. Yeah, it looked a little bit hard, and it didn't look like it never got to the right as far enough. And honestly, it could be where that ball just hooked early and never hooked with the type of ball that he's throwing.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a spare here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Barnes, but having to spare the super washout to take over the lead would be insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest shot of 2025 for Stephen Crowley.
Yeah,
right now.
I imagine he's going to throw it straight. It'll just be interesting to see if he goes on the left side of the head pin. The pins are pretty wrappable around the 10 around here, so let's see what might spare it here.
No, pulled it too far.
Unfortunate.
Unbelievable. Chris Barnes stays safe for
Wow.
another squad. My goodness. Well, Matt, hey, thanks for sitting in with us here on the booth all day long. It's
Absolutely, Phil.
appreciated. Thanks for doing that
No
interview
problem.
with Double A
Yeah,
at the end. And
no problem.
We'll have an interview with Andrew Anderson as well. You'll see on PBA's LBC's social media later on. First squad next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, as we'll have some PBA professionals, including Stu Williams, bowling on that squad. And thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We'll see you next weekend.